sea of colour, flags waving away to our right-hand side in the park end, one denoting the 5 successes that Everton have had in the FA Cup, starting in 1906, and their last major trophy was the FA Cup, 1995, Paul Rideout and all that. But their opponents today, let's talk a bit about Bournemouth, Perry Groves, because we've not said too much about what they've done. Ouattara and Kluivert dropped to the bench, and Brooks as well. And he is down to the bare bones a little bit, Andoni Iraola, in terms of what he can call upon. But when you look at what he's done for a player like Antoine Semenyo, it's no wonder that there are a lot of admiring glances being thrown Andoni Iraola's way as a coach.
Yeah, very much so, Dan. So he's added an end product to Semenyo's play when he gets into final third. Sometimes he's a little bit erratic, but I love Andoni Iraola. He hasn't mentioned once about his injury problems, because as you said, Dan, the last couple of games, even today, he's had like the academy players on the bench. He's been about Evan Nielsen, his first choice centre forward, and now his second choice. So he plays Ouattara up there, obviously he's on the bench today, and I'm really pleased, because sometimes we talked to John Williams, wasn't we, not the guitarist, but the Bournemouth stalwart.
Oh, there's one for the teenagers.
The Bournemouth stalwart is a centre half, and he said that he thought that the way he heard Iraola speaking, that he got the FA Cup, because some foreign managers don't get the importance of the FA Cup like our generation does, and I'm really pleased that he's gone very strong today. And Bournemouth have been unbelievably impressive this season. Liverpool was their first defeat in 13 games, and if you think about the stage of the game there, when it was about 1-0 down, Kluivert misses an absolute city, didn't he, to put them back at 1-1.
Yeah.
And they still gave Liverpool a run for their money, even with the injuries they had. And there's a player that I'm very much admirer of is Ryan Christie. I think that he goes under the radar a little bit. It was his partnership, was it, with Lewis Cook at first, with Ryan Christie. Then it was obviously Lewis Cook going at right back, Tyler Adams and Ryan Christie. Wherever he plays, Ryan Christie always has an influence on the game. Where we think today he's going to play in the 10 position with Ben Winterburn obviously playing a little bit behind him. But you mentioned there you've got Tavernier on his right hand side, Semenyo on his left, and it'll be whether Daniel Jefferson, obviously who's playing up front, he'll need to have to hold the ball up. But the job that Andoni Iraola has done at Bournemouth is outstanding, and he would be, if I was one of the bigger clubs, he would be the next cab on the rank for me. I think he could do a job at any one of the top clubs.
And he's a very well-spoken individual. I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's highly impressive to deal with from our point of view. He never ducks a question, but he just seems to have that little inner steel, and he's turned that club Bournemouth around very, very quickly. It's mighty impressive. As I mentioned, the way some of those players have trained on, including some who've been at the club for quite some time. I think of Lewis Cook, who's doing a job at right back at the moment. He's got Kepa playing well as goalkeeper, who went through a tricky time at Chelsea. Let's be fair, Christie moving into this number 10 role this afternoon. Kirkes, well, I mean, that's one of the best left backs in the division.
Anybody who can rock a mullet and still be outstanding, you know that they've got confidence. And the thing you mentioned about Iraola, Dan, as well, when he took over, they didn't win for their first 9 games. But he didn't waver, did he? Normally, and I was quite critical of Phil Foley, because I felt that Gary Neal should have been given a chance of what job that he did to take Bournemouth on. And he said, and Bill Foley said, no, we want to play a more attacking, adventurous type of football. And Iraola came in, and even though the results weren't great, he didn't waver, so then the players bought into him, and they thought, actually, we can see what he's trying to do, we can see the style of football, and they actually enjoy the way that he wants them to play. You know, if you're a player, if you know you're going to go on the front foot, you're going to be attacking, you love playing for that sort of manager.
And the win that Bournemouth got against Manchester City in the Premier League early in the campaign, I think that might have been the moment when lots of people started to take more notice of what Iraola is doing. It did, of course, predicate a big bad run that Manchester City subsequently had, but nevertheless, impressive stuff from Bournemouth and Andoni Iraola this season. Some lovely tifos being flown to our right-hand side. Everton for the Cup, and there's a Gary Ablett tifo that's being flown in that Philip Carter Park end, remembering the late great centre-half who represented Everton with such distinction, Gary Ablett. where you can hear the familiar theme of Z cars as the players walk down that very narrow tunnel here at Goodison and emerge to a huge roar at a packed out Goodison Park. Not an empty seat to be had. Onwards, Evertonians, we shall not be moved, says the giant banner in the Gladys Street end. Well, they've got to move soon enough to Bramley Moor Dock. But will the next FA Cup tie be played there? Or can Everton mastermind a way through this afternoon and get a home tie for later in this competition? Live football to come this afternoon on Talksport later on. 2 more FA Cup ties today alone. From 5:30, Birmingham City take on Newcastle United. That's League One against Premier League. And then the all-Premier League affair between Brighton and Chelsea will follow on straight after that. And then we go to the live boxing. Derek Chisora against Otto Wallin. Last fight on home soil for Derek Chisora. And we're only a couple of weeks away from that extraordinary card in Saudi Arabia. Bebetiev against Bivol. Plus much more besides, as we continue to bring you lots of live boxing. And the Super Bowl, Sunday night from 10:30 on Talksport. We've got our team out there, Will Gavin in the team, Michael T. Smith, and many more for the Chiefs against the Eagles. Can it be 3 in a row for Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes and co, or can the Eagles stop the rot? They were the team that the Chiefs beat for the first of the potential three-peat. So lots of different live sport to come. 3 FA Cup ties on Talksport tomorrow from lunchtime through to early evening. We are spoiling you, as we said about His Excellency, with the chocolates, with everything that we're bringing you sporting-wise across the Talksport network this weekend. Let me remind you of the teams here at Goodison Park ahead of kick-off. Everton have Jordan Pickford in goal, Jake O'Brien, James Tarkowski, Jared Branthwaite and Ashley Young in the back 4, James Garner and Idrissa Gueye holding in midfield, and then Jesper Lindstrom, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Iliman Ndiaye behind Beto in attack. Bournemouth have Kepa Arrizabalaga in their goal, Lewis Cook, Ilya Zabani, Dean Hyson and Milos Kerkez in their back 4. Ben Winterburn and Tyler Adams are the holding midfielders. Winterburn, who played in round 3 against West Brom from the Bournemouth Academy. Marcus Tavernier, Ryan Christie and Antoine Semenyo behind Daniel Jebison in attack. And our referee this afternoon is John Brooks, just sorting out the coin toss. Both teams in their first choice colours. Everton in the blue shirts, white shorts and socks. Bournemouth in the red and black stripes with black shorts and red and black socks. They're just in a huddle in the right-hand half of the field. And Everton will be kicking towards the Philip Carter Park end to our right in this first half, as we sit 3/4 of the way back in the main stand here at Goodison Park. The Gladys Street end to our left, on the Bullens Road opposite, that's where the Bournemouth fans are situated. And it's Bournemouth who will get us underway in this cup tie, with Daniel Jebison standing next to Ryan Christie in the centre circle. Referee Brooks just waits for the time to tick round to 3 o'clock, and we are underway. And Bournemouth immediately float the ball forward, and Jebison chests the ball down at the edge of the area, and it will drop at the edge of the box for Tavernier, drives it goalwards. And Bournemouth tried to do to Everton what Everton did to Leicester last week, but Everton managed to clear their lines, 0-0.
Yeah, there's the attacking intent from Bournemouth, getting the ball into the box. Obviously Jebison just making his challenge and came out to the edge of the box, came to Ryan Christie, had his shot, got blocked by Everton. Now Bournemouth have managed to regain possession.
0-0, but Bournemouth showing a great deal of intent early on. Ndiaye tries to send it down the left-hand side for Everton, but Bournemouth win it back. Zabani collects the ball comfortably inside his own half, gives it to Dean Hyson, and Hyson with a diagonal ball trying to pick out Semenyo's run down the left for the Cherries, but that's hit too straight and goes straight out of play for an Everton goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, just looking at Bournemouth, Dan, to wonder why they were going to line up. We thought that Ryan Christie might be in the 10 and Winterburn holding, but Winterburn's gone into the 10. So Ryan Christie and Tyler Adams, that good partnership we got there, they're going to be the 2 deeper midfield players.
He is a defensive midfielder, Ben Winterburn, but but he was given the chance in round 3 against West Brom, and he's back in today. Ball headed up to the edge of the area. It won't quite drop from Winterburn's header, trying to feed Jebison, but it's cleared away. Hyson, this impressive young centre-half, slides the ball straight out of play next to where David Moyes stood in his technical area. And it will be a throw to Everton, which Jake O'Brien will take just shy of the halfway line. Tarkowski, under a bit of pressure from Jebison, knocks it back to Pickford, and rather than clear it downfield, Pickford just waits until Jebison's right on top of him, and then just flicks it to his right for Tarkowski, and they can then send the long ball downfield. Drops in the centre circle for James Garner. Ashley Young pushing forward into the Bournemouth half, gives it back to James Garner, and then Abdoulaye Doucouré sends it back into his own half. He'd already put Everton 1-0 up by this time last week against the Foxes. Garner again on halfway, plays the ball out to Ashley Young, left hand side, almost at the midway point of the Bournemouth half, but Garner will have it again. Idrissa Gueye looks for Garner. Now it'll drop for Iliman Ndiaye, left hand corner of the area, driving at Zabani, gets to the dead ball line, pulls it across, and the deflection helps Kepa plunge on it at his near post, and he'll have the ball in his hands and will clear from hands. It is 0-0 on Talksport 2 with 2.5 minutes gone. Perry Groves.
Yeah, really good link-up play from Garner and Gueye in midfield for Everton. Got a little ricochet to Ndiaye on the left-hand side, tried to go on the outside, cross was blocked. Easy save for Kepa. Just looking at Everton, Dance, Idrissa Gana Gueye is going to have a brilliant game, certainly. You see, like, he's everywhere with Garner and Gueye in that centre midfield.
I'll just call him Idrissa Gueye from this point on, just to save any confusion.
As long as it's not a loner.
Here is Gueye, just knocking it down for Doucouré. Neat touch from him. Garner on the halfway line, strokes it out to Young. Again at the midway point of the Bournemouth half, in front of those Bournemouth fans. Little overlapping run from Branthwaite, puts the ball into the near post looking for Beto, but Zabani there again to clear at his near post. He'll have it rolled back to him, and he'll clear it longer up to halfway along the deck, but that's intercepted by Branthwaite. And then it goes out to the left-hand side and driven into the box, but cleared away by Tyler Adams, and it's gone out for a throw rather than the corner for Everton. 3.5 gone, and Everton trying to get on the front foot here. Garner, almost at the midway point of the Bournemouth half, rolls it back into the centre circle for Tarkowski, plays it to the right to this near side for O'Brien, who was trying to link up down this near side with Lindstrom, but it drifts out of play and Bournemouth will have a throw. 0-0.
We just had a little glimpse there. You know, we said about the differences between David Moyes Everton and Sean Dyche Everton. Branthwaite went on the overlap there. He went around Ashley Young on the left-hand side and up the left wing position. That doesn't happen under Sean Dyche. So it's just, you know, where I think David Moyes has said, yeah, can we create overloads, works on the right-hand side, left-hand side. A couple of times definitely got down the left, especially with Iliman Ndiaye, where the crosses hit the first man. So the build-up play's been good into that final third, but just lacking that little bit of quality on the final pass.
Jebison barges into the back of Branthwaite, who was running back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Free kick awarded by John Brooks. And Everton, who've lost 7 of their last 9 against Bournemouth in all competitions. Not only did they lose 3-2 here with that dramatic ending that Perry and I have already spoken about, but they also subsequently lost by 1-0 down at the Vitality. And has gone back to Jarrod Branthwaite after the free kick's taken short. Midway point of his own half, slides it over halfway line to the path of Ndiaye, who tried to touch and turn and try and run around the outside of Zabani, but the centre half was too cute for that and dealt with it. Tyler Adams, poor touch from him in the Bournemouth midfield. Everton win it back. Beto tries to slide it into the edge of the area. The run was made by Jesper Lindstrom, who'd come in field from the right hand side, but they just couldn't find him, and it's cleared downfield. Goals going in the National League. Dagenham and Redbridge lead Yeovil by a goal to nil. Josh Rees and Falkirk in the Scottish Championship looking to get promotion back to the SPFL. They lead Partick Thistle. Former Burnley man Scott Arfield has put Falkirk in front at the Falkirk Stadium. 0-0 here at Goodison Park. We played nearly 6 minutes on Talksport 2 in the FA Cup 4th round. Christie out to the right hand side and Lewis Cook.
Yeah, you see him, Ryan Christie. He's the one who's going to be the conductor, just dropping a little bit deeper. Tyler Adams playing a little bit more advanced of him. He's just had about 6 touches in the space of 30 seconds, just trying to get Bournemouth's passing. I know I'm own fashion dance, and we're looking at Zabiani and Hyson, the 2 Bournemouth centre-halves.
As the ball goes out to Semenyo, left-hand side, level with the Everton 18-yard line. 2 players watching him, tucks it back infield to Tyler Adams, and the American will go back into the centre circle for Zabiani. Square ball for Hyson. You were going to say about these 2 centre-halves?
They're both gloved up. It's not cold today, Dan. So you've got your 2 big, hairy centre-halves. So you want to be like physical and want to be tough and hard. And they look like they've got bowling gloves on.
The heated gilets next. That's what the shirts will look like in the end. I bet the technology's not far away from doing that.
What, to make sure that their body temperature's exactly right.
Yes.
So they would be in the red zone.
Ball clips into the area. Jebison trying to control it on his thigh and turn, but didn't control it, and he just bounced through to Jordan Pickford. Everton beat Peterborough here 2-0 in round 3 without a manager. Leighton Baines effective was in control that day. Goals from Beto and a penalty from Njai sent them through just prior to David Moyes, the prodigal son, returning. Whilst Bournemouth went down initially 1-0 to West Bromwich Albion, but came back to win 4-1 in the end.
Again, just looking at Everton, they're just a lot more measured in their build-up, because Branthwaite and Tarkowski, the 2 Everton centre-halves, they're splitting the width of the 18-yard box. And then that means that O'Brien on the right-hand side pushes on a bit further, and so is Ashley Young on the left. Njai
sends it long downfield, and there is Ashley Young getting onto the ball at the dead ball line. Does he want a corner? No, it came off him last of all. Goal kick to Bournemouth away to our right. And in League 2, Mark Hughes takes over at Carlisle United, and they lead at Grimsby Town. Sam Lavelle for Carlisle, rock bottom of the EFL, lost 5 of their last 6, and old Sparky working the Oracle early doors at Blundell Park. That's the first goal in the EFL this afternoon. There's FA Cup ties as well at Coventry, Preston, Southampton, Stoke and Wigan that we'll keep you in touch with here on Talksport 2, and a bit of EFL action in the Championship, games at Norwich and Sheffield United. But 0-0 here at Goodison Park in the FA Cup. Everton bring the ball clear. Good football from Lindstrom and Garner. Just touches it down to Ashley Young. You can hear the applause for each completed pass, but then the ball up to halfway is well intercepted by Adams, and Bournemouth have it back. Jebison down the far right-hand side, looking to take on Branthwaite, and a great sliding challenge from the Everton youngster. At least got it half clear, but then Jebison showed good industry to try and win it back. Lost out, and Everton whacked the ball up to halfway, looking for Beto, but Zabiani again got in front of his man and won it back. Now here's Tavernier laying it off in midfield. It's rolled out to Semenyo, left-hand corner of the box. Kirkes on the other, but Semenyo went for goal, and it deflects just wide. Pickford was a spectator, and it only just went wide of the far post, and it's a Bournemouth corner at the Gladys Street end, 0-0.
Worked it really well, Bournemouth, from the right-hand side into Tavernier, then it just rolls it into Ryan Christie, puts it out to Semenyo, cuts under his right foot, just gets a block, and then Jordan Pickford looked like he had diving boots on, Dance, because as he just was rooted to the spot, and in his head he's thinking, I hope it doesn't go over me, my left-hand side. It just went about a yard wide, corner for Bournemouth over on the left-hand side.
Where the Gladys Street meets the Bullens Road. Tavernier to take it. No, it's left for an outswinger. Goes onto the 6-yard box. It's volleyed clear by Young. Christie's giving chase, and so too is Tavernier, and he decides to work the ball all the way back to his keeper, Kepa, who's midway inside his own half. Drills the ball out to the right-hand side, trying to get Lewis Cook in behind. Good defensive header, though, in midfield from Lindstrom, who was back defending. And Everton have it back and just clip it outside their area. But Garner trying to get it downfield sees his intended pass intercepted by Adams, and it's a throw to Everton instead on this near side there. Right, we played 10 minutes on Talksport 2 in this all Premier League FA Cup tie, 0-0 between Everton and Bournemouth. Ian Danter and Perry Groves with you.
Game's got a good tempo about it, Dan, isn't it? Good tempo. Both teams are moving the ball very quickly. They're very, very compact in possession. The build-up play from both sides have been really good.
Jebison giving chase again down the left-hand side, trying to win a corner under pressure from Tarkowski. Just gave him a little nudge. not seen as a foul by the referee, and it's a goal kick to Everton. You're listening to Everton 0, Bournemouth 0 in the FA Cup on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. It's 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Just looking at Everton as well, Dance, when they're in possession, Iliman Ndiaye comes in off that left flank. He comes in to make it basically 2 10s alongside Decore, and then Ashley Young pushes wide on that left-hand side where he's got in a couple of times.
Good skill from Branthwaite, but then he runs into Ryan Christie, who wins the ball back for Bournemouth. Tavernier toe pokes it down the right-hand side of the Everton box, but just rolls through to Pickford. Nobody had gambled in those red and black stripes, so Pickford bowls it out underarm to Tarkowski. Out it goes to the right-back position, just underneath our commentary position, and O'Brien. Tarkowski looks long this time, looks for Beto over halfway, but Hyson with a strong header. A lot of the Everton fans feel that there was a foul on Beto, but now they're even more unhappy because a foul's been given for a push on Ryan Christie just over halfway. 0-0 the score. Yeah,
they've done really well, the two Bournemouth centre-halves, even though I say they're all gloved up. They're up for the fight. And every time it comes into Beto, either Sabani or Hyson, they make sure that one of them goes and challenges and the other one just sweeps up behind. So just Beto, one, he's got to get better service into him, but two, he's got to learn how to back in a little bit more and just look for the centre-half and make sure that he doesn't get a clean header.
Stoke 0, Cardiff 1 in the FA Cup. Ruben Colwell puts the Welsh side ahead after their humbling at Leeds last weekend in the league. Free kick into the box from Kirkes, but it goes through everybody, and Lewis Cook can't keep him player on the far side of the field, scampering across to try and prevent a goal kick. But that's exactly what we have here. Just having a look at Jarrad Branthwaite, who's got his hands on his thighs. I think he might have been caught off the ball there, just moving his right leg awkwardly. Might need to run that off. 12 gone, 0-0 on Talksport 2. Peter Reid is here, wearing his fetching fedora, as part of the director's box, just down underneath where Bill Kenwright used to sit for so many years, so sadly lost to us now, the former Everton chairman and owner. Throw into Everton on the halfway line, taken quickly by Ashley Young.
He looks more like Peter O'Toole rather than Peter Reid there, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. It's very fetching fedora, very wide brimmed,
very thespian, wasn't he?
Yeah, sort of Ian McKellen. Back it goes from Branthwaite, who looks okay, to his keeper, Pickford. So, yeah, Stoke in front, or rather trailing at home to Cardiff. And Coventry 0, Ipswich 1. That game kicked off late, but George Hurst has already put Ipswich a goal to the good at the CBS Arena with a penalty. Coventry 0, Ipswich 1 here on Talksport 2. Perry Groves.
I just think James Tarkowski is a little bit lucky there because he's just been closed down. He's in the right back position, been closed down by Hyson, and then Winterburn, and Winterburn's just gone across him with his right foot. I don't think there was a lot of contact there, and the referee John Brooks decide to get James Tarkowski out a little bit of trouble, because if he hadn't have blown up, then Winterburn was in.
Pickford inside his own penalty area, plays the ball outside to Tarkowski. Again, he's under pressure from Jebison, and he manages to get the ball clear, but he screws it out of play, and Jebison's not giving up on all of that.
They've been very cute action. They're closing down Bournemouth, because obviously I said about the two centre-halves that Smith, Branthwaite is obviously a lot more comfortable on the ball than James Tarkowski is, so all they're doing is just shepherding the closing down from Jebison's point of view, angling his run so it goes out to Tarkowski, and that's the second time he's either been caught in possession.
And producer Sam back at base has just informed me the reason for that late kick-off at the Coventry Building Society Arena was because fans were still trying to get into the ground. That's always a nice thing to hear, that all right, you'd rather it kicked off at 3, but if there's loads of people trying to get watch live football, it can only be a good thing.
He's alive and kicking, Dance.
0-0 at Goodison Park, quarter of an hour gone in this cup tie. Ball's on halfway with Tarkowski, sets Lindstrom away down the inside right channel, early cross looking for Beto. It's a bit of curl on the cross, but not enough, and it just drifts behind in the end for a Bournemouth goal kick. Still goalless on Talksport 2.
Really clever ball there from James Tarkowski, just piercing the Bournemouth midfield. Then Lindstrom comes in off this right hand side, gets himself into the inside right position, looks up, he sees that Beto's peeled to the far post. It's the right idea but wrong execution, because with his right foot he's just tried to bend it in between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. Again, just over clubbed, needed to be a 7-iron, and he's got the free on out of his bag, goes out for a goal kick for Bournemouth.
Smacked downfield by Kepa, straight onto the head of Tarkowski. in the centre circle, drops for Kerkez, who lobs it back into the centre circle, looking for Jebison to make a nuisance of himself, which he did, but Everton have it back. Gay drives it up to Beto, lays it off to Lindstrom. Back it goes to Idrissa Gay on halfway. Turns away from Winterburn. Now Branthwaite actually leaves it for Ashley Young, and he'll fire it all the way back to Jordan Pickford. Now Tarkowski again, seeing a lot of the ball, the Everton number 6 in these early stages. That's another intelligent pass infield to find Gay, who can travel over halfway without being closed down. Now it's Abdoulaye Doucouré, works it out to this near side, the right, and Lindstrom. But Lindstrom can't get past Kerkez with that mohawk mullet that he sports these days. You can't miss him, Milos Kerkez. And Everton are forced to pass the ball straight out of play. In fact, via a deflection, they get a throw. 16 minutes gone, 0-0.
You're just looking at Everton, so they're having decent possession. Say James Tarkowski's had it. I think that's why Bournemouth are letting it come over to this right-hand side of Everton, but there hasn't been a threat in behind. So looking at Lindstrom, looking at Njai on the left-hand side, they're both coming a little bit more inverted. I'd rather they come and span.
Well, Lindstrom's the target for a crossfield ball. He's been found. He'll keep it in play down by the corner flag. Now Kerkez comes to engage him. Lindstrom sprints past him into the area. Hyson heads clear. Only as far as O'Brien, who'll nod it down once again. And then it's back with Jake O'Brien. Diagonal ball into the box. Chested down by Beto. And he span and tried to shoot. And he only caught the grass next to the ball. Comes out to Idrissa Gay with a drive. Volleys up in the air. And then Tavernier puts it behind for a corner kick with a complete shank. Corner kick to Everton at the Park End, 0-0.
Yeah, Beto, this ball comes in, he's round about the penalty spot, just takes it down on his chest, just has a massive swing of it, miss it completely, managed to regain possession. Everton recycle it, just comes out to the edge of the box. Idrissa Gay has a shot, as you said there. Tavernier, who's just in the right back position, just completely shaking, needs to chalk his boot a little bit, I think, just completely shanks it. Corner for Everton over on their left hand side.
Going to be taken where the Park End meets the Bullens paddock, which is where the Bournemouth fans are. Ashley Young going to take it, right-footed, in-swinger, right to the crossbar, and a punch from Kepa. He was being fouled as he did so. In fact, pull on the shirt is the indication from John Brooks, so it'll be a free kick to Bournemouth. Stays 0-0 on Talksport 2. Lincoln have taken the lead against Cambridge in one of the League One games being played this afternoon. Freddie Draper for the Imps, just 2 wins in 10. But they're playing the bottom side Cambridge, who've only got 1 win in 11. In the Scottish Cup, Dundee of the SPFL League Championship, Airdrie by a 0-0. Clark Robertson for Dundee. Oh, kept in play by Njai at the dead ball line. Can he find a teammate? May not need one. Oh, he can't slide it under Kepa, who makes an important save, trapping the ball under his legs as Iliman Njai weaved his way through. But now here come Bournemouth at the other end with Antoine Semenyo. He's got O'Brien backpedaling, puts the ball into the box, and Branthwaite comfortably volleys it clear. But Iliman Njai, with some lovely skill on that far side, almost brought a sensational opener, Perry Groves.
I think Zabiani can have my ticket to get himself back into Goodison Park dance, because he's just trying to shepherd the ball out on the byline, and Jai goes and closes him down, manages to spin him completely. I think he needs to be unscrewed out of the ground as well, Iliman Njai. Zabani. He does brilliantly, but when he gets into that 6-yard box dance, he should pull it back, and you've got Beto, who's just screaming at him just to roll it back to him. He decides to try and nutmeg Kepa at his near post. Really good save.
Kerkez down the left-hand side of the area for Bournemouth, tries to get the crossing, hits Tarkowski, didn't know much about it, but that actually allowed Pickford to dart out from his goal line and claim the loose ball. Burton 1, Blackpool 0 in League One. That's 21st against 13th. The Brewers, though, are 5 unbeaten, and Ruman Burrell has scored again for the Brewers. And Coventry have equalised in the FA Cup against Ipswich. That's now 1-1 at the CBS Arena. Joel Latibaudiere with the equaliser. That game kicked off about 12 minutes late because of crowd congestion trying to get into the stadium. 0-0 here at it looks sold out to me, Goodison Park. I can't see any empty seats anywhere for this cup tie. And Bournemouth bringing the ball clear as they attack the Gladys Street, the Cherries, in this first half. That's the end away to our left as we're sat behind the director's box here in the main stand at Goodison Park. Ilya Zabani finds Ryan Christie, who's just split the two centre-halves in this defensive midfield role that Christie has at the moment for Bournemouth. Clipped out to the left-hand side. Kirkes, lovely ball in field. Semenyo is onside in the area. In slides Tarkowski and gives away a penalty. Well, suddenly Kirkes just turned the ball round the corner in the inside left channel. Semenyo was onto it in a flash. He was waiting to take a shot. Tarkowski slid in, brought him down, and referee Brooks did not hesitate too long before pointing to the spot. Bournemouth have a penalty kick.
That's what a brilliant layoff from Kirkes over in that left wing position as it dropped over his shoulder with the instep with his left foot. He just rolled it into path of Semenyo. Semenyo does brilliantly, Dance, because he takes his first touch and he can feel that Tarkowski's coming on his right hand side, goes to take his second touch. He knows that Tarkowski's sliding in. Really, really poor challenge for Tarkowski. To be fair to referee John Brooks, he gave himself that second, Dance, didn't he? He looked at it, saw where the board was travelling, ball hadn't deviated, 100% a penalty. Brilliant play from Bournemouth on their left wing. Semenyo gets the penalty, picks the ball up, bouncing it round about the penalty spot. So I don't know if he's
taken it, because Marcus Tavernier initially looked like he might be striking it, but then he handed the ball to Semenyo, who scored 8 goals this season, 7 in the Premier League. The former Bristol City man, who scored 3 goals in his last 5 appearances, has the chance to put Bournemouth in front at the Gladys Street end against Pickford, who's bouncing up and down his goal line. Semenyo, right-footed. Oh, it goes through Pickford. He got fingertips to it, but couldn't keep it out. And Antoine Semenyo gives Bournemouth the lead midway through the first half with a firmly struck penalty that Pickford found too hot to handle. Everton 0, Bournemouth 1.
Dance, we said we love the FA Cup, we love the history tradition. That was an old traditional 1970s, 80s penalty. There was no checking your run up, was there? There was no looking at the goalkeeper trying to play for us. Semenyo just run up with his left, with his right foot, just smashed through the centre of the ball, goes to Pickford's right hand side. Pickford guesses brilliantly, but because of the pace and the power of the shot, Pickford's got no chance. He gets a right hand to it, goes underneath him. Brilliant penalty from Semenyo, brilliant attacking play from Bournemouth down the left hand side to go 1-0 up here at Goodison Park.
And Antoine Semenyo was just milking it a little bit in front of some of the Everton fans in the Bullen's Road paddock next to the Gladys Street. That didn't go down too well, but the former Bristol City man has given Bournemouth the lead. That's goal number 9 this season for Semenyo. And Everton restart, rolling the ball all the way back to Jordan Pickford, and he'll just hit it long downfield like he did at the start of the game against Leicester. Doesn't pay the same dividends this time as Bournemouth win it back, and Christie tucks it back to Kepa. Stoke 0, Cardiff 2. Yusuf Salek gets the second for Cardiff in the FA Cup at the Bet365. James Garner trying to turn the ball in field. He's won a throw for Everton at 15 yards inside Bournemouth territory. 1-0 to the Cherries here.
Do you want me to name stat?
You've always got one.
Cardiff have never beaten Stoke in the FA Cup.
That might be about to change. And Omar Risa, who saw his team thumped 7-0 last weekend at Leeds United, looking for a reaction. Fair to say it seems like he's got one at Stoke City, themselves under new management with Mark Robbins, let's not forget.
We said about this game here, Dan, you know, both teams' build-up play was, you know, neat and tidy, but not finding the right pass in the final third. Kirkes' layoff was absolutely well-classed. As the ball just dropped over his right shoulder, he opened his body out and he saw the run of Semenyo coming in on the underlap, and it was the right decision. But
now it's flicked on for Semenyo at the edge of the area. He takes a drive and it's shanked horribly wide. Just dropped for him on the half volley as it was flicked across from right to left from Jebison. He got to the left-hand corner of the area, did Antoine Semenyo, and brimming with confidence, having scored that penalty, just fancied giving it the crack towards goal, but it went well high and wide. Goal kick, but it is still 1-0 Bournemouth.
Really good play from Jebison, just flicked it with his on the volley with his right foot, and Semenyo better not look down at the pitch and think that there's a divot, unless a mole's popped up. Don't have divots in these pitches these days.
Wigan 0, Fulham 1 in the FA Cup. Rodrigo Muniz puts Fulham ahead at the DW. And in the Championship, Sheffield United lead Portsmouth 1-0. Here come Everton, a goal down. Abdoulaye Doucouré in the centre of the Bournemouth half. rolls it into the feet of Lindstrom, gives it back to Doucouré, tried to play it through the eye of a needle for Beto's run, but it was comfortably intercepted by Bournemouth, and Semenyo, the goal scorer, now just comfortably rides the challenge of Lindstrom and moves into the Everton half of the field. Some neat football on halfway from Bournemouth, and Kerkez, can he keep it in play? No, he almost decapitated his manager, who then slips over as he went to retrieve the ball. That was all a bit, it's a knockout there.
No one noticed it. No, you got away with it.
Yeah, no one noticed. Gus Harmer's given Sheffield United the lead in that championship game against Portsmouth.
I think I've just done my ACL dance, because Semenyo just had the ball and he had a little body swerve and a sway, sent Lindstrom the wrong way, and then Lindstrom come back goal side, then sent it the wrong way again. He's got fantastic balance, Anton Semenyo. So sometimes the ball doesn't move, but he drops his shoulder, a bit like Chris Waddle, when you should drop your shoulder to the left and he comes onto the right hand side. Just very graceful when he's in possession.
We were only talking about Chris Waddle earlier. That's quite a nice comparison. If Antoine Semenyo was to hear that, he'd be most chuffed if he was thought he was of the same sort of balance as the great Chris Waddle.
And there is someone who could rock a mallet, trust me.
Absolutely. Semenyo with his hair tied back in a top knot will find Tyler Adams back with Hyson. No sooner have Sheffield United taken the lead in the Championship than Portsmouth equalise at Bramall Lane. 1-1. Connor Ogilvie gets Portsmouth back in it. You're listening to Talksport 2. In the FA Cup, we've played 27 minutes at Goodison Park. All Premier League encounter with Bournemouth leading by 1-0, scored from the penalty spot by Antoine Semenyo. Everton just given the ball up in the centre circle, and Christie slides it out to the goal scorer Semenyo. Level with the 18-yard line. Kerkez on the underlap, tries to pull it back from the dead ball line and wins a corner off Tarkowski's challenge. A corner to Bournemouth at the Gladys Street end. They lead 1-0.
Well, Christie's finding avenues and alleyways through that midfield for Bournemouth, just cutting right through the centre of the pitch, just rolls it out to Semenyo. Kerkez goes on the underlap again, he's just trying to roll it in his path, gets a block at near post, corner for Bournemouth on their left hand side.
Try and come up one for Kerkez. It's very easy doing it with Christie. See if you can come up one for Milos Kerkez. Anyway,
I can't believe you're critiquing.
I just saw that one coming a mile off. Here's Tavernier with the corner, left-footed outswinger where the Gladys Street meets the main stand. It's a good delivery, and it goes over the head of Jebison, drops for Lewis Cook, who tried to send the ball first time back into the box. It's blocked by Idrissa Gueye. Now Semenyo, right hand corner of the area, just turns neatly away from Garner. Lovely skill, tries to play it across the 6-yard line, but there's enough Everton bodies back to get it clear. But in slides Zabarnyi, helped out by Hyson, and then Winterburn tries to send it down the right hand side of the box for Semenyo, who was caught on his heels, and it trickles behind. And Bournemouth, having taken the lead, appear to be growing in confidence here at Goodison Park.
Yeah, they're starting to get in control of the game. You mentioned about Ryan Christie and Tyler Adams, that partnership in midfield, just keeping possession. At the moment, Everton can't get out. And I just think with Everton, I mentioned before about Iliman Ndiaye coming in off that left-hand side, they haven't got enough natural width. I like to see Iliman Ndiaye just stay right out on the left-hand side.
Long ball through the middle, trying to get Beto away. Out came Kepa to the edge of his box and cleared it, but it only found Lindstrom. Garner now just ahead of the centre circle in possession for Everton. Works it out left for Young. Young faced up by Tavernier, so goes back in field to Garner once more. Scheming his way further in field, and then because Doucouré went back to Idrissa Gueye, he got an absolute volley of criticism from Everton supporters. Ball ricochets into the path of Lindstrom. Now back for Garner. O'Brien takes over the right back. Has to go back to halfway this time though. And Tarkowski. Now Garner gets his head up, slides it down this near side, looking for the run of Idrissa Gueye, but couldn't twist and turn and contort his body and position in time to collect that pass. Bournemouth have a throw approaching the half hour on Talksport 2. It's Everton 0, Bournemouth 1 in the FA Cup.
You can hear the frustration for the Everton faithful, because when it comes into Doucouré, obviously he's been playing in the 10 position for Everton. He's got to get himself on the half turn, because he's got himself in between Adams and Christie, and then if he gets himself on the half turn, he can then just flick it into Beto, but he comes all the way back on about 20-30 yards, and that's why the Everton fans got a bit of the ump.
Here is Jebison picking the ball up for Bournemouth just over halfway, works it right to Tavernier, faced up by Ashley Young, skips past him, moves into just in front of the centre circle. Tavernier, Semenyo calling for it out this near side. Tavernier still got it and will now slide it out to Semenyo. Tavernier's gone again for the return pass, but it's overhit from Semenyo Good strong run from Marcus Tavernier, out of play. Goal kick Everton. You're listening to Everton 0, Bournemouth 1 in the FA Cup on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup 18+. Please drink responsibly. And 2 more live FA Cup ties over on Talksport before we're done today alone. That's Birmingham City against Newcastle from 5:30, and then the all Premier League affair between Brighton and Chelsea at 7:45. Everton win it back at the edge of their own area. Slid it to Beto on halfway, holding it up well. Little foot in from Winterburn, trying to win it back, but it's still with Everton. Lindstrom now on halfway, right next to the 2 technical areas. Back in field it goes to James Garner. Tarkowski now picks it up, and it goes out to the left-hand side, and Branthwaite plays a 1-2 with Tarkowski. Works it back in field to Garner. Garner will go back to square to O'Brien. Patient from Everton. The fans not disappointed with that up to this point. It's when it goes into the opposition half and then it comes backwards that they get a bit miffed here.
Again, Everton had really good possession, just trying to work their way into Bournemouth's half. Then by free passing, it goes all the way back to Jordan Pickford. And just looking as well, Jefferson is standing. Branthwaite, the Everton centre, goes right on the left-hand side. What Jefferson does is he goes and stands in between him and Tarkowski, because he obviously, Bournemouth want Tarkowski to have the ball. So Iriola's tactics have been very, very good.
Doucouré in the centre circle, gives it back to Gay on halfway, but he's set up on quickly by Tyler Adams. 50-50 challenge between O'Brien, or Garner rather, and Semenyo, and that definitely went James Garner's way. Forward pass from Tarkowski, finds a target. In this case, it's Idrissa Gueye. Slides it into Ndiaye, but Ndiaye just had somebody coming in from behind Lewis Cook to put his foot in front. Tyler Adams will find Semenyo. He's fallen off the pitch, Tyler Adams. It's worked back to Kepa, and that's quite a calm clearance from the former Chelsea man. But it drops for Bournemouth once again. Tavernier picks it up on halfway, and there's a head injury, which means play has to be stopped. Bournemouth were in possession, and it's Daniel Jebison who was caught on his head, and so referee John Brooks just wants to make sure he's all right, but it will be an uncontested drop ball for Bournemouth just inside their own half. 33 minutes gone on Talksport 2 in the Emirates FA Cup 4th round, and Bournemouth still lead by a goal to nil. Here's Perry Groves.
Actually, obviously, Jefferson went to the floor, was challenged by Tarkowski. Tarkowski didn't really catch him. When the centre half puts just the arm across you, that actually inhibited Bournemouth, because they had good position over on the right-hand side with Lewis Cook. Bournemouth didn't want him to stop play, because they had a look at Bournemouth players and thought, no, he hasn't been, unduly smashed in the head. And then it was John Brooks, the referee, decided to stop play, and then you don't even need the physio on.
What a ball from Hyson out to the right-hand side for Bournemouth to pick out Cook. But Everton have won it back. Idrissa Gueye, good strength, tries to slide it forward for Beto to give chase, but Zabani much quicker there to get to the ball first. And now Cook's back in his right-back position. Crewe 0, Newport 1 in League 2. The Exiles on a decent run of form against 5th place Crewe, who are struggling a little bit. Just 1 win in 5 for the Railway men, and Cameron Antwi has put the Exiles in front at Gresty Road.
Just look at Idrissa Gueye there. When he's got the ball, again, it's the right idea but wrong excuse, because he should be actually putting that ball more out towards the touchline so Beto can bend his run. He's actually tried to put it inside Zabani, and Zabani just put the afterburners on. He was 2 yards in front of Beto anyway. So again, you could hear the frustration of the Everton fans, because it was the wrong choice of pass.
So in the FA Cup right now, Coventry 1, Ipswich 1, Bournemouth 1-0 up here on Talksport 2 at Everton. Goalless between Preston and Wickham, and Southampton and Burnley. Cardiff 2 up at Stoke. Fulham 1-0 up at Wigan. Tavernier trying to get away down the right-hand side. He's won a throw off Jarrod Branthwaite, who came out to engage him. We mentioned Bournemouth's very good recent run against Everton, and they are 10 minutes away from going in at half-time with an advantage. And I can't remember Kepa, other than that close range save from Ndiaye, when Beto was a better option to have the ball pulled back to, having too much work to do in this opening 35 minutes. Here's Tavernier bursting into the box for Bournemouth, running a couple of challenges. Jebison tries to tee it up for Kirkes, going to go for goal from 25 yards out, blocked by Lindstrom, but Kirkes turned and swiftly went after the loose ball and beat Lindstrom to it. Ball out of play, it's a throw-in to Bournemouth, and they're getting all the second balls as well at the moment, Bournemouth, it seems to me, Perry.
Yeah, what's happening is Everton on the stats are dominating play, but it's been mainly in their own half, isn't it? It's been where they're just passing it from fullback to O'Brien into Tarkowski out to Brownthwaite. Asa Young is out on that left-hand side. So basically what Bournemouth done, they said, well, you could have the ball in your own half, then when you come up to half-wide, and then we're going to close you down. And Bournemouth have just been a lot more productive when they've had possession, a lot more dangerous going forward.
Semenyo trying to protect the ball at the corner flag like it's the 90th minute, and he actually fouled Tarkowski, who seemed to have wrestled control back, and they're just squaring up to each other, Semenyo and Tarkowski, and a couple of the Everton substitutes just stepping in to try and diffuse matters, and Bournemouth subs as well, and it will end up with referee John Brooks wanting to speak to both of them. 1-0 Bournemouth.
Like being at a wedding there, I thought Oops Upside Your Head would start playing, wouldn't they? They both sat down right behind each other. So a couple of slaps to the left, a couple of slaps to the right. I think it was just a little kick out from Tarkowski. So Semenyo's just shielding the ball on the corner flag. He goes to the floor. Tarkowski tries to step over him. Semenyo then rests him to the ground. And then there's just like a little pull by Semenyo on Tarkowski's leg. He sort of flicks him to try and get away. Well done, the referee, John Brooks.
Yeah,
he goes, don't be so silly.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Just calms them down, gives them a ticking off, but no yellow card. In the Championship, Norwich and Derby still nil. No manager, of course, for Derby at the moment. Paul Warne sacked in the week. Sheffield United won, Portsmouth won earlier. Sunderland and Watford drew 2-2, and West Brom left it late to beat Sheffield Wednesday. We had those two early FA Cup ties as well. One on Talksport, one here on Talksport 2. Millwall shocked Leeds, although they made many changes, the Championship leaders, winning 2-0. And there was a big shock on at Brisbane Road. Leyton Orient took the lead against Manchester City, but ended up losing by 2-1, with Kevin De Bruyne netting the winner for the Citizens. 1-0 here to Bournemouth on Talksport 2. And they're in possession inside their own half with Ilya Zabarnyi. Thought about hitting a long ball over the top for Jebison, who was just pulling off the shoulder of Branthwaite, but instead it's one back by Everton, and Young will send the ball all the way back to Jordan Pickford. Short pass for Tarkowski at the edge of his own penalty area. Winterburn comes across to close down the space. Not a good pass from Tarkowski, and here's Kerkez motoring down the left-hand side. Ball across the face of goal, missed by Idrissa Gueye, but Branthwaite bails out his midfielder and hooks it clear.
Again, it's Tarkowski giving the ball away. There's no reaction.
And here's Bournemouth winning the ball back again. Tyler Adams this time stealing possession, and then Semenyo is brought down by Garner 30 yards out, giving us a free kick to really anger the locals, who thought there was nothing in that. But John Brooks says that Semenyo was pushed, and Bournemouth have a free kick about 30 yards out from goal, maybe too far out for a strike, we'll see, but they lead 1-0 here.
Again, it's just very, very cute closing down from Bournemouth. Jebison then goes and stands inside Tarkowski, so he can't get it into Branthwaite, tries to play it onto this right-hand side to Lindstrom. Bournemouth regain possession, goes into Semenyo, and Garner comes in. Semenyo does really well, uses his body, gives him a little nudge, falls to the ground. Now it's a free kick in a dangerous position from Bournemouth's point of view. Tavernier will just whip it in with his left foot.
So Marcus Tavernier has got lots of players pushing up at the far post. It's to the left of centre. In it comes to the far post, looking for Semenyo, but the ball drifted over his head and out of play for a goal kick. In the FA Cup, Coventry 1, Ipswich 2. Ipswich back in front just shy of the half hour in that delayed kick-off, Jack Clark. And in the Scottish Championship, Falkirk 3-2 up against Partick Thistle. Long ball downfield, looking to get the pacey Iliman Ndiaye away, but Bournemouth dealt with it. And Tavernier then wins a throw just inside the Everton half of the field. Just over 5 minutes to half time. Everton 0, Bournemouth 1.
I think the Bournemouth set-piece coach has got a P45. That's the second time they've had a free kick in the left-hand side position, inside left, and they've hit it straight out of play. Kerkez hit the first one out, and then Tavernier hit the second one.
Here's Semenyo, whose penalty separates the sides at the moment. Tyler Adams back into his own half for Zabarnyi. Adams takes over and looks for the other centre-half, Dean Hyson, on this near side. Adams will take over yet again. No real press from Everton. They're allowing Adams to have the ball just shy of the halfway line. Zabarnyi slides it out to the right wing. Tavernier just tucks it back for Lewis Cook. There's a paucity of right backs available to Andoni Iraola at the moment for Bournemouth, so Lewis Cook is doing a job there, and a pretty good job from what I can see. Ball's out of play though. Throw into Everton in their left-back position, and they need to get the crowd re-engaged here. Everton, you can hear it, it's a bit quiet at Goodison. 5 to the break, and it's 1-0 to the Cherries.
Perfect for the away side. Obviously gone 1-0 up. Sit quiet in the crowd. A few moans and groans, frustration with Everton giving the ball away unnecessarily. And what Everton do is when they're out of position, they just drop back into a 4-4-2.
Christie, lovely skill down the right-hand side after he dispossessed Idrissa Gueye, and not for the first time this afternoon. Then Gueye wins it back, tucks it infield, and then pressure on the left-hand side on Garner. Can he find a teammate? Just smuggles it down the left-hand touchline. It's brilliantly done. Finds Njai, midway point of his own half. Infield to Idrissa Gueye. Oh, he slipped as the ball was sent to him, and Bournemouth have won it back. Here's Semenyo inside the area. Tries a shot across the face of goal and wide. Took a deflection. Corner kick to Bournemouth. So close to them going 2 up after Everton gave the ball all the way in their own defensive third. 1-0 Bournemouth.
Again, it's Idrissa Gueye should be going, Njai should be going forwards into Beto, gives the ball away. Bournemouth recycle it, comes to Semenyo in the inside right position. It's a brilliant sliding tackle from Branthwaite. Just make sure that you block Semenyo's shot, who's going to try to go across Jordan Pickford. Just goes about 4 yards wide of Jordan Pickford's right-hand post. Corner for Bournemouth on their left-hand side.
Where the Gladys Street meets the main stand. So Tavernier to take it, left-footed outswinger to come from him. Not many players in the 6-yard box wearing red and black stripes. 4 players for Bournemouth milling around the penalty spot. In it comes from Tavernier. Good strong header clear from Tarkowski. Comes out to Christie. Now Tavernier left-hand side, gets to the left-hand corner of the box, right-footed ball in, and Pickford knew where his posts were and can let it go out of play for a goal kick. Stoke 1, Cardiff 2. Lewis Kumas gets a goal back for Stoke. And Cambridge, the bottom side in League One, have equalised at Lincoln. That's 1-1 at the LNER. James Gibbons, poor clearance from Everton at the back. Here comes Tavernier again, trying a drive from the edge of the area. Might drop for Jemison, blocked by Pickford, but it goes in anyway on the rebound, and right on half-time, the ball is bundled home by Daniel Jemison, and Everton have somehow found themselves 2 goals down. Cue a mass exodus for a pie and a pint from around us in the main stand. It was scrappy, but Daniel Jemison won't care. He's just made it. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2.
Again, it's Everton. Architects your own downfall. They just pan over to David Moyes. He can't believe what he's seeing. This time it's Tarkowski again who just gives the ball away. Then they make sure that Bournemouth keep it alive. It's Pickford into Tarkowski. He tries to play a cross pass field to Ashley Young on the left-hand side. Comes to Tavernier. He has a shot. It's blocked. Then it comes back to Jefferson. He has a shot. Pickford blocks it. Then it comes back to Jefferson again. And he manages to toe poke it over the top of Jordan Pickford as it comes back off the post. Bournemouth go 2-0 up. Again, it is just Tarkowski and Jordan Pickford having a little word with each other. Basically, Tarkowski said, I don't want the ball. But he's played a ridiculous pass from his own 18-yard box, tried to go across the field, gives the ball away to Tavernier, and in 2 seconds ends up in the back of Everton's net for Bournemouth to go 2-0 up.
Well, Daniel Jefferson is the man for the FA Cup for Bournemouth. Scored against West Brom in round 3, does it again today. That was his first goal for Bournemouth. He had a spell on loan at Watford and didn't score in 13 appearances for the Hornets. But back at Bournemouth, playing in place of Ouattara or Cliver or Brooks, who've been benched today by Andoni Iraola. He bundled the ball home. I think it came off his thigh in the end on the rebound. He won't care. He's made it 2-0 to Bournemouth, and we've got 30 seconds of normal time remaining. Everton have won a free kick 10 yards inside the Bournemouth half. Garner to strike it to the right-hand corner of the penalty area. Semenyo tries to hook it clear, but just shanks it behind for an Everton corner at the park end. We're about to find out how much additional time we're going to get at Goodison in this first half. Probably a minute or 2, no more.
Can't remember a physio coming on in this first half.
Well, we had that head injury for Bournemouth, but that's it. So it'll probably be 1 minute. In fact, it's 2 that have been added on by John Brooks. Maybe a little for the goal celebrations as well might have been added on. They do that a lot, referees, don't they? So a corner to Everton. James Garner, right-footed delivery. Semenyo tries to head it out. It drifts out to the Everton left-hand side. On the far side of the field from us and Ashley Young. Back he goes to halfway, and Idrissa Gueye gets his head up, chips it into the area, but it just bounces behind. It's harmless, and that kind of sums up Everton's first half, really. That long ball downfield from Idrissa Gueye, overhit. Everton players didn't bother making the run. 2 bounces, and it's behind for a Bournemouth goal kick in stoppage time. They lead 2-0, the Cherries. Yeah,
as I said, Dance has been very, very cute play from Bournemouth, especially on their closing down. David Moyes has got a lot of thinking to do, which they're just panning over at the moment. I think he can't believe that he's, as well as what his team have been playing, obviously winning 3 on the trot before playing here today, how many times they've given the ball away. It's been sloppy in possession. At first, Dance, they were sloppy in possession in their attacking third, and then with 10 minutes to go in the first half, they started to be sloppy in possession in their own defensive third, and Bournemouth set the traps, and that's how Jefferson got Bournemouth's second goal.
Well, it's been 3 straight wins for David Moyes since the defeat here against Aston Villa that marked his return. Now he's got to give a very important half-time team talk, unless Everton can get a goal back here. Cross from O'Brien is beautifully delivered, but actually it's hit too firmly in the end from the right back and just disappears behind for a goal kick to Bournemouth, and they will take their time over getting this back into play. Fleetwood lead against Cheltenham in one of the League 2 games this afternoon. Matty Virtue for Fleetwood, who have won and lost their last 4, so they're due a win, and they lead at Highbury against Cheltenham Town, 2 teams in mid-table there. Dundee 3, Airdrie 0 in the Scottish Cup. Livingston against Cove Rangers, and St Johnstone Hamilton, the other 2 ties in the Scottish Cup at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Bournemouth try and send the ball forward to Tavernier, but it's headed back to the keeper, and a few boos ring around Goodison Park as the half-time whistle goes, and David Moyes has a very important half-time team talk to give, because after 3 straight wins, Bournemouth find themselves 2 goals clear on this trip to Goodison Park, and it has been a bit lacklustre from Everton, to say the least. They gave away a penalty when Antoine Semenyo was brought down by James Tarkowski, who's had a pretty rotten first half at centre-half for Everton in terms of defending and distribution. Semenyo picked himself up, dusted himself down and smacked home the penalty. Pickford got a fingertip to it and guessed the right way, but couldn't keep it out. It was struck so fiercely by Semenyo. That was midway through the first half, but then right at the end of the half, Tarkowski giving the ball away, trying to float the ball out to the Everton left, picked off by Tavernier, played the ball into the box. Jebison had a shot that was blocked by Pickford, but it came out right in front of goal to Jebison, and he managed to force it over the line for a half-time score here of Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. Perry Groves.
Well, you have to say Bournemouth have been well worth their lead going in at half-time. The first sort of 20 minutes, was pretty even Stevens, and then Bournemouth just been very cute, Dads, in their closing down. They've sort of retreated basically to halfway line and said, right, you can have the ball in front of us your own half. But when they've pressed high, Jefferson has made sure, as I said before, he stands in between Brownthwaite and Tarkowski and eases the ball out to that sort of right-hand side whenever you're in possession. And Bournemouth have been very, very cute in possession as well, because we said both teams were lacking that little bit of quality in the final third. The one standout bit of play and quality came from Kirkes from the left-back position when it was a switch of play from the right-hand side. And as the ball dropped over his shoulder, he opened his body up and he just caressed it with the instep of his left foot into the path of Semenyo, had gone on the underlap into the 18-yard box. Semenyo did brilliantly. He just made sure he got his touch. He could feel that Tarkowski was coming in from his right-hand side, waited and waited, got another touch. Tarkowski slides in, ridiculous challenge. John Brooks, referee, quite rightly gives the penalty. Semenyo then gets the ball, puts it on the penalty spot, and it was very Ray Stewart-esque, wasn't it? His penalty was right, no, I'm just going to put my foot through it, gives Pickford absolutely no chance.
If you were to compare the number of touches that Beto had as Everton striker and, say, Jebison or Semenyo had as the Bournemouth strikers, it's worlds apart, isn't it? And that's not Beto's fault. The ball's just not finding it.
No, I think what's happened a couple of times, they come into Beto, to be fair to Zavani and Hyson, the 2 Bournemouth centre halves. One's gone unchallenged and the other one's sort of swept up. But as you said there, talking about centre-halves, I think James Tarkowski, obviously the Everton centre-half, in that he's had a first half that you want to forget, because Bournemouth have made sure they've shepherded it out to him, and it reaped the reward, because Jordan Pickford plays it to Tarkowski, who's on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. He tries to play a crossfield pass. Ridiculous. It's so transparent what he's trying to do. Then Tavernier again, they've set the trap. He comes to Tavernier, gets on the left foot, gets blocked, has a little ricochet. Jebson's first volley. Jordan Pickford comes out and smothers it basically. Then it bounces down, and then Jefferson is able to bundle it past him, and then goes in off the post to put Bournemouth up 2.5 times. So David Moyes has got a big team talk here at half time, because his team need to find a little bit more urgency, a little bit more dynamism, because they did that first half very, very flat. And you could hear, I think it was Boozer's frustration, more than Boozer's sort of anger, because of the form that Everton have been before we got here today.
Well, last time we were here, Bournemouth won 3-2, having been 2-0 down. Can Everton affect the same sort of comeback here in this cup tie? I'll bring you all the half-time scores from around the grounds next here on Talksport 2, and then full commentary of the second half. But at the break here on Merseyside, it is in FA Cup round 4, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL. The Emirates FA Cup, live on Talksport 2 with Carling.
Oh, yes.
Get your mates together and enjoy the match with Carling, the beer of football. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
With a Travis Perkins trade account, you open the door to big trade deals every single month, right through February. Get structural OSB boards from just £14 per sheet for 11mm and £19 per sheet for 18mm. Join the club and get this and other big trade deals this February with your trade account. Travis Perkins, doing what matters for the trade. All prices exclude VAT at 20%.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Google Gemini and very particular friends. So, I just held the power button and said, find a few Italian pet-friendly restaurants with outdoor seating nearby and text them to Luca. And my phone sent the perfect spot instantly. Ciao, Luca. The new Galaxy S25. Buy now from participating retailers. Compatible with selected languages only. Google account login and network connection required.
The TUI sale is now on. Book today and save up to £300 per booking. Holiday, here we come. Grab a free kids place, even in the school summer holidays. Family holiday deal? Sorted. TUI. Live happy. Atoll and ABTA protected. Booking T's and C's apply. Selected departures. Minimum spend applies. 1 free child place per 2 full paying adults. Limited availability on selected holidays. See website for details.
This Tuesday, Amazon brings you the unmissable UEFA Champions League match. It's Man City versus Real Madrid.
Magnificent. A wonderful goal.
This Tuesday, Man City versus Real Madrid. It's on Prime.
Fight Night on Talksport with USN, your partner in performance. Knockout names, insider news and nailed-on adrenaline from UK radio's hardest-hitting, closest to the canvas boxing showcase. Plus a weekly undercard of big fight build-ups, backstage bust-ups and heavyweight debate. Fight Night, tonight from 10 on Talksport with USN. Prepare, perform and recover faster in 2025 with USN Sports Supplements. Visit usn.co.uk.
It's FA Cup full-on football frenzy February on Talksport.
And that settles it.
Live Saturday 4th round, Birmingham versus Newcastle.
And he has sealed a brilliant win.
Full volume, uninterrupted match commentary. Kick-off 5:45pm on the station for the live football nation, Talksport. Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League.
This is Game Day. Half-time classifieds.
Welcome back to Goodison Parky and Danter and Perry Groves with you in the FA Cup 4th round. Let's bring you all the half-time scores, starting with
the Emirates FA Cup.
Results from earlier: Leeds 0, Millwall 2. You heard it live on Talksport 2. Leyton Orient 1, Manchester City 2. You heard that on Talksport. These are half-times. In fact, just coming up to half-time in a delayed kick-off at the CBS Arena. Coventry 1, Ipswich 3. Here at Goodison, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. Preston 0, Wickham 0. Southampton 0, Burnley 0. Stoke 1, Cardiff 2. Wigan 0, Fulham 1. Birmingham Newcastle kicks off 5:45. We're there shortly. And Brighton Chelsea kicks off at 8 o'clock. Both of those matches live on Talksport.
Sky Bet Championship.
Earlier at lunchtime it finished Sunderland 2, Watford 2 and West Brom 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Half-times in the 3 o'clocks: Norwich 0, Derby 0 and Sheffield United 1, Portsmouth 1.
Sky Bet League 1.
Lunchtime games finished: Charlton 2, Stevenage 0 and Stockport 2, Barnsley 1. These are half-times: Bolton 0, Crawley 0, Burton 1, Blackpool 0, Huddersfield 0, Reading 0, Lincoln 1, Cambridge 1, Rotherham 0, Shrewsbury 0.
Sky Bet League 2.
Lunchtime games finished: Bradford 1, Harrogate 0 and Swindon 3, Port Vale 3. Half-times in the 3 o'clocks: Accrington 0, Wimbledon 0, Barrow 0, Gillingham 0, Colchester 0, Walsall 0, Crewe 0, Newport 2, Fleetwood 1, Cheltenham 0, Grimsby 0, Carlisle 1, MK Dons 0, Bromley 0, Notts County 0, Morecambe 0 and Salford 0, Tranmere 0. You're up to date on Talksport 2. Let's take a look at the half-time highlights here in partnership with Carling.
Emirates FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport 2 with Carling. Brilliantly refreshing from the first sip to the last. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly.
Live on Talksport 2, 3 o'clock kickoff on FA Cup Live. Everton taking on Bournemouth. Kept in play by Njai at the dead ball line. Can he find a teammate? May not need one. Oh, he can't slide it under Kepa, who makes an important save. Trapping the ball under his legs as Iliman Njai weaved his way through. Oh, lovely ball in field. Semenyo is onside in the area. In slides Tarkowski and gives away a penalty. Well, suddenly Kirkes just turned the ball round the corner in the inside left channel.
Really poor challenge for Tarkowski. Ball hadn't deviated, 100% a penalty. Brilliant play from Bournemouth on their left wing.
Against Pickford, who's bouncing up and down his goal line. Semenyo, right-footed. Oh, it goes through Pickford. He got fingertips to it, but couldn't keep it out. And Antoine Semenyo gives Bournemouth the lead. Here comes Tavernier again, trying a drive from the edge of the area. Might drop for Jemison. Blocked by Pickford, but it goes in anyway on the rebound. And right on half-time, cue a mass exodus for a pie and a pint from around us in the main stand. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. So that is the half-time score here, and those were the half-time highlights, thanks to our friends at Carling.
Emirates FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Well, not that I don't have Talksport on most of the time when I'm driving anyway, but I'm definitely going to be listening to this when I'm driving home from Goodison Park later, because coming up after us, Birmingham City against Newcastle United at St Andrews. Talksport 5:45 kickoff. Let's get a preview of the game with our commentary team already in place at the Mecca of Midlands football. That's Big Dean Ashton and Sam Matterface. Hello, boys.
We're definitely missing you sitting here, and I must admit, I mean, three sides of this ground are absolutely glorious, aren't they? We're in the older of the stands,
yes.
Dan. Look, it's been a long time since I've been to St Andrews, and it's misty and it's murky, and it's like one of those canal scenes from Peaky Blinders. But it is a tournament and two clubs that are steeped in history, and two clubs that have actually been rather unpredictable, especially in this competition over the last few years. But change is coming. Change has definitely come here at St Andrews, and we know that the future looks a lot brighter, as it does for Newcastle United as well. The models are different. A collection of wealthy and famous Americans have swanned into the second city, whereas it's the Saudi PIF that have taken over Newcastle. But a real transformation has been done by two bright English managers who have been around the game for a long time and finally are getting the credit that they deserve to.
They are. I think Eddie Howe in particular, obviously, with the start that they made at the start of this season, and as if the excitement had fizzled out at Newcastle, and then you've got obviously Birmingham and Chris Davis, who has got to handle that expectation, which there is a huge amount of it. here at St Andrews because of the investment, because of the playing squad that he's got. But what I really like about him is, and so many of these coaches I think come in, possession-based football, which they've been very, very good at. But I saw a sign of it against Wrexham when they were struggling. He brought on an extra defender. They sat in, they dug in. There was a different side to his team that I thought really impressed me. And he's going to need that today, because they're not going to have the bulk of possession. They're going to have to show that character.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing for me, is the clash of styles, because you've got a team in Newcastle United who love to press from the front, really close down, and you've got Birmingham who dominate possession in every game that they play in League One. But today might be different because of the calibre of opposition that they're up against.
And I think it's when you're going so well in the league as they have done, when they haven't lost since November, this team isn't used to being under the cosh. This team isn't used to not having the football. So it will be a test. It'll be really interesting for Chris Davies to see his players under this sort of pressure that they'll be under today. And I remember coming here as a 17, 18-year-old kid playing here. And
scored here?
No, I didn't know. No, I didn't. But
God, that's one of the 92
I'll tell you what's always stuck in my mind, and every sub will know, is when you come on here, the biggest who comes around the ground and the atmosphere created here can be electric. There's obviously been well documented issues with the club, with the ownership, but what a great opportunity today for the atmosphere to be proper. The Newcastle fans in here as well. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
This explains, Ian Danta, while earlier on Dean Ashton went down the tunnel, came out onto the playing surface. It's a rare location that he hasn't scored a goal at, so he was trying to get on the pitch to see if he could find a ball to kick in the net. Couldn't find one earlier. There's one down there now. Maybe we'll go before kick-off.
I tell you what, boys, I gave Alan Shearer inadvertently a who, because when Newcastle were there in the League Cup in 1999, Birmingham were 2-0 up. Stephen Harper had been sent off for Newcastle. Bobby Robson decides to take off Alan Shearer, and I just said his name as the player coming off, and it was the highest profile who up to that point. So, you know, Dean Ashton, you were in exalted company getting a who.
Dino, don't worry about it. Arsenal fans used to do that to me. I've been there 6 years. Give us a chance.
Listen, boys, enjoy the game. I'll be listening on my drive home. Have a good call.
Boys, have a good rest of the afternoon.
Sam and Dean Ashton, your commentary team at St Andrews then for Birmingham City, Newcastle. And we're not done then, because after that's done, Sam's team, Chelsea, are down at the Amex to take on Brighton in another all-Premier League affair. That's Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, your commentary team for that one. So you're all sorted, basically, on Talksport and Talksport 2 for live sport. We've also got the second ODI, India against England, Sunday morning from 7 o'clock here on Talksport 2. The 3 FA Cup ties tomorrow. Blackburn, Wolves, Plymouth, Liverpool, our exclusive game, and Villa, Tottenham from early afternoon through to early evening. And then the Super Bowl, or Superb Owl, as somebody once said it to me, and it's stuck in my head ever since. Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. Our coverage starts from New Orleans for Super Bowl 59 from 10:30 tomorrow night on TalkSport, with Will Gavin and the team inside the stadium bringing you full live commentary. See who wins the Vince Lombardi Trophy this year. Can it be the three-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs? And how many times will the cameras pan on Taylor Swift? We can only guess. Anyway,
Tay-Tay, don't you call it? You're not Tay-Tay, you're not a fan? No?
I love a bit of Tay-Tay. She's a genuine talent. No problem with Tay-Tay. It's just not her Super Bowl. I feel for her. She just knows the camera's going to be on her every single second.
Oh, she won't like that, will she?
Depends what she's doing.
Actually,
she's picking her nose, then she's got a problem.
Patrick Mahomes, he's one of my favourite sports people, because I think he's going for the three-peat, isn't he?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Whether he can get anywhere near Tom Brady's record as a quarterback in Super Bowls is open to question. But
well, do you know what? Will Gavin said that he thinks that if he gets a three-peat, that he'll be the greatest quarterback ever. That's some statement.
Well, that'll be part of the debate tomorrow night, I'm sure. Make sure you're with Will Gavin and the team from 10:30 tomorrow. But as you can hear, it's a grand old team ringing out once again around Goodison Park. We're ready for the second half here between Everton and Bournemouth. Everton 2-0 down at half-time. No changes made by either David Moyes or Andoni Iraola at the start of the second half. So Everton in the blue shirts, white shorts and socks, kicking from right to left as we look in the main stand. So they're heading for the Gladys Street in the second half. Pickford in goal, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Young, Garner and Gay Njai, Doucouré, Lindstrom and Beto. For Bournemouth, in their red and black stripes with black shorts and socks, Kepa is in goal. Cook, Zabani, Hyson and Kerkez, Winterburn and Adams, Tavernier, Christie and Semenyo in behind Jebison, who's just chasing after what appears to be, and indeed is, a lost cause down the left-hand side of the area, and it's out of play for an Everton goal kick.
Brilliant touch again there from Semenyo. Just a long goal kick, wasn't it, from Kepa? Just over into that inside left position. He's just like he's got like velvet carpet slippers on, doesn't he? As the ball drops out of the air, he just cushioned it, just makes it look very, very easy.
Here is Kerkez again, just trying to bulldoze his way through this time on the left-hand side. He's won a throw just over the halfway line. He's all purpose, is Milos Kerkez. Wales have been beaten 22-15 in the Six Nations against Italy.
It's that losing run to 14 matches.
Amazing. And Italy, who, you know, we've been waiting such a long time for Italy to be properly competitive in the Six Nations since they were drafted in. That's a massive statement win for the Italians. So, well played to the Italians, but Welsh rugby continues to go through one heck of a slump.
And you said there, just to compound it, Georgia overtake Wales in the world rankings in rugby union.
Wow. Anyway, ball's out of play for a throw-in to Bournemouth. It was like a touchline clearance from Everton, trying to get some yardage like it was a game of rugby. So Kerkez will have it just in front of that Bullens Road paddock on the opposite side of the field from us. And the referee just telling Kerkez to get it back into play. A few catcalls from around us asking Bournemouth to get on with it. They do. Headed forward by Cook up to halfway, but Tarkowski wins it back, clips it forward, looking for Beto to win the header, but Hyson beats into it and heads it actually against Beto's head and out of play, and it ends up being a throw-in once again to the Cherries. Everton have lost 2 Wembley FA Cup semi-finals in recent years to Liverpool and Manchester United. Offside against an Everton player in the middle of the half stops Garner charging forward. Their last major final, Everton, was 2009 when David Moyes was manager and they lost to Chelsea and Frank Lampard at Wembley, not long after couple of years after Wembley was reopened and they stopped using Cardiff. Free kick for Bournemouth. So we played 3 minutes of the second half, and Everton fans need something to get them riled, get them on their feet, get them engaged in this game. And that's not going to help because Ashley Young's adjudged to have fouled Marcus Tavernier. He says, I've got the ball, but John Brooks disagrees. Free kick to Bournemouth as Wigan equalise against Fulham in the FA Cup, Johnny Smith, and Stoke equalise against Cardiff in that All-Championship affair. Lewis Kumas gets his and Stoke second. That's 2-2. Free kick here to Bournemouth.
Everything must change for Young on that left-hand side. His brilliant control from Tavernier, just again taking the ball out of the air. Ashley Young doesn't really need to make that challenge because he's coming from behind, and the assistant just in front of us, Dance, was 100% right because he came through Tavernier to try and get the ball.
Kerkez, don't think I did spot that line, by the way. Finds Semenyo down the left-hand side of the area, goes down, but no thought of a penalty on that occasion, just couldn't keep his balance as he weaved his way into the area. Does that mean when Ashley Young signed a new long-term contract, they said come back and stay for good this time?
I think they did. I think that was actually a clause in his contract.
Good, just checking. Salford 1, Tranmere 0 in League 2. Matt Jones sat alongside us doing the updates for Talksport this afternoon, is a Tranmere super fan, and he's got his head in his hands. I don't know whether he's just been told the score, but Hakeem Adelakun has put Salford ahead against struggling Tranmere, trying to keep their noses above water in League 2. And in League 1, Bolton 0, Crawley 1. Stephen Schumacher just taking over at Crawley, but Russian Hepburn Murphy has put Crawley ahead at Bolton. Just 1 win in 9 for Crawley before today, but they lead at the tough Sheet Stadium.
Easy to say.
Yeah. 50 minutes played at Goodison Park. It's still 2-0 to Bournemouth, and it's been very, very untidy. Yeah, the first 5 minutes, and you know, as I mentioned just a little earlier, Perry Groves, the Everton fans have got nothing to really hang on to at the moment, nothing to stir the blood.
They're looking for a little bit of inspiration now, whether it be a fantastic bit of skill, you know, a crushing tackle. So from Bournemouth's point of view, it's going perfect to plan, because they say it's very calm. Just look at David Moyes, he's come up to 50 minutes played. How long does he wait until he makes a substitution? You've got Harrison on the bench who could come and make a difference on the wide area.
Well, there's Alcaraz now, who's a
in
recent
midfield.
arrival.
Exactly, yeah. So he's sort of a player that can get the game ticking along and get hold of possession. As you said, it's been really scrappy, which suits Bournemouth.
Handball by Jebison as Branthwaite headed clear from a long ball downfield. So Everton get a free kick. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2 if you're just tuning into FA Cup Live here on Talksport 2. Long ball downfield looking for Beto. Well, he got a free header, nodded it into the centre circle, neatly cushioned down by Doucouré for Idrissa Gueye. Now it's shoveled out to this near side, and Ashley Young. Bolton have equalised against Crawley. They weren't ahead for long, Crawley. Jordi Osei Tutu makes it 1-1 in League One. Now it's Jake O'Brien rolling the ball downfield to Beto in the right wing position. Got Tyler Adams for company, tries to roll away from the American. Good strength from Beto, but in slides Tyler Adams and concedes the throw. You're listening to Everton 0, Bournemouth 2 in the FA Cup on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup 18+. Please drink responsibly. As the ball goes into Doucouré, lobs it up into the air, and Hyson gets a call from his keeper Kepa saying, "Leave it, that's mine." And the frustration continues to rumble around Goodison Park, Perry Groves.
Yep, that was Kepa keepers as he started coming out from his 6-yard box. Just looking there as well, like Jefferson obviously has got his goal, but as a young player, he's been tactically very, very disciplined, because again, when Everton have the ball, he just looks over his right shoulder and he marks.
And Jai sets Doucouré away into the area left-hand side, pulls it across, goes behind, and Jai Garner runs onto it, drives it goalwards, and it deflects wide for a corner kick. Iliman Ndiaye can't believe he couldn't latch onto that pullback from Doucouré. Having set Doucouré away, he made his way into the box. The pullback from Doucouré was decent, but Ndiaye just couldn't get his feet right. Corner to Everton.
Brilliant turn from Iliman Ndiaye away from Ryan Christie. Right pass into Doucouré. Doucouré gets to the byline again. It's the right pullback. Then Ndiaye gets himself centre of the goal, misses the ball completely. Everton recycle it, gets a block. Corner for Everton on their right.
To be taken by Garner into the near post, but straight onto the left foot of Tavernier, but he just hooks it straight up in the air, headed back goalwards, and then it was Hyson who had to hook the ball away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Everton still have it. Played across the face of goal by Doucouré. Another block, this time behind from Jebison defending. Another corner to Everton over on the far side where the Bullens Road meets the Gladys Street.
Yeah, Everton just trying to exert some pressure. We said, Dance, that they needed a lift, and Iliman Ndiaye is the one who's given that lift, that brilliant bit of skill about 30 seconds earlier to set Doucouré away. This time the ball drops to him, pulls it out the sky, has his volley, again blocked by a Bournemouth player. Corner for Everton on their right.
To be taken again by Garner. Bournemouth lead 2-0. Here comes the corner, headed across the face of goal, and Tarkowski couldn't plant a firm header on it to send it into the back of the net as he was running inside the 6-yard box. Eventually goes out of play for an Everton throw. 9 minutes gone. Bournemouth really under pressure here, but still hanging on to their 2-0 lead. Young takes the throw to Garner down this left-hand side. Has to go back towards the halfway line and find Idrissa Gueye. Across to Tarkowski, who was so close to getting his head on that ball across the face of goal just now.
Dance, I thought he was going to launch himself out because it was a really good corner from Garner into near post, flicked on. Tarkowski's just spun away from his marker. He's completely unmarked at the back of the 6-yard box. I think that's where you launch yourself for a diving head up. Couldn't quite reach it.
And Tarkowski then launches a ball downfield that was very easy for Zabani to pick off. Semenyo goes down, robbed by Ashley Young. Iliman Ndiaye trying to weave away from Zabani. He brings him down. That's a free kick to Everton. About 30 yards from goal out on the left-hand side. Crawley are back in front in League One at Bolton. Will Swan makes it Bolton 1, Crawley 2. And in the FA Cup, Fulham are back in front at Wigan. It's a second for Rodrigo Muniz. Wigan 1, Fulham 2. 10 minutes gone the second half here. Everton 2 down, but they have a free kick.
Yeah, really quick feet from Iliman Ndiaye, just playing a 1-2 with himself. Gets onto his left foot, Sibani, and just slides across him. Quite rightly, John Brooks, the referee, gives a free kick. Now just got to make sure that there's a good delivery.
Well, Garner's going to take it again. It's a right-footed delivery. He's going to swirl it in towards Kepa's far post. In it comes from Garner. Oh, it's straight to the first defender, Lewis Cook, who heads clear. And Ndiaye sends the ball out to the right-hand side for Everton and Jesper Lindstrom. Lindstrom has to go back to Idrissa Gueye on halfway. Crossfield ball just flicks off the head of Tavernier and goes out for an Everton throw. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. Ian Dancer and Perry Groves with you here on Talksport 2 this afternoon.
Dancer, such a bad free kick from James Garner, just trying to exert that little bit of pressure. Had a couple of corners on the trot.
Well, here's Doucouré, left-hand corner of the area now. Back to goal. Rolls it back into midfield for Garner. Garner strokes it to his immediate right. And O'Brien with a very too deep. He's hit it on the full. It's actually gone out over the dead ball line before it bounced. And you could hear the groans around us as another Everton attack comes to nothing.
I can actually hear David Moyes' groan from here because he's just below us. We sat in a press box. So they had the 2 corners on the trot. Then you get a free kick down position. Garner takes it, hits the smallest man on the pitch, which is Lewis Cook at the near post. Then that relieves the pressure. Then comes out to Jacob Ryan on the right-hand side. All he's got to do is just help the ball into the 18-yard box where Beto's on the far post. And again, it's just like he's got like a club foot base and just smashes it behind the goal.
Well, 56 minutes gone. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. We're approaching that time of the game where managers who haven't seen any change after a restart when they're losing go to their substitutes. Nothing yet, it would appear, is happening immediately down beneath us in terms of substitutes for either side. Barrow lead Gillingham in League 2 by a 1-0. Just 1 winning 8 for Barrow, but the Gills with no winning 8. And Kean Spencer's put Barrow in front. Down the left-hand side go Bournemouth. Kirkes went down, gets to his feet and scurries after the loose ball. It's sent back to Pickford, who can clear comfortably left-footed up to halfway. Beto tries to win the flick on, almost got Iliman Ndiaye away inside the Bournemouth half, with Bournemouth playing a very high line at that point, but Bournemouth have it back.
Again, when it comes into Beto, Zabiani is the one who goes and challenges. Beto gets the flick on, but Heisen does really well. He just goes about 6 yards behind him, comes and sweeps up, and Beto's a little bit isolated.
I think it's Stoke 3, Cardiff 2 now in the FA Cup. It was 2-2 there, but I think Stoke have got themselves a third goal. It's 2-0 here. It's, in fact, yes, Lewis Baker it is who's got it for Stoke. They've come from 2-0 down. Can Everton do the same? 2-0 down, and Ndiaye trying to get the better of Lewis Cook, who won the ball back. Still gave a volley to the referee, feeling he was fouled in that process by Ndiaye. But it still comes to nothing, and I can't think since that early Ndiaye strike that was saved by Kepa he's had much to do. 58 gone, 2-0 to Bournemouth.
That was the only save he's had to make at the near post when Ndiaye should be pulling back to Beto, tries to nutmeg him. It was a really good save from Kepa with his feet. As I said, Dance, other than that, he's been a virtual spectator. So, like David Moyes is coming up to an hour, he has to make a couple of substitutions because he has to try and turn this game around by putting a bit of fresh energy and fresh legs on.
Semenyo, who got the ball rolling with the penalty. He's outpacing Lindstrom and charging through the centre of the field, but back comes Lindstrom. Oh, the deflection's unkind. It gets it back to Semenyo. Out to the left-hand side, worked back by Kirkes in field. Adams rolls it across to Ben Winterburn. Winterburn sees Cook making a run outside of him, plays the ball into the box. It's cleared away on the half volley by Branthwaite, only as far as Adams. Christie takes over, floats a lovely pass out to Lewis Cook on the right wing by the dead ball line, sends the cross in. Winterburn was flying across to the near post but couldn't connect. Comes back out to Bournemouth, but they get dispossessed, and it's Ndiaye. Oh, lovely drop of the shoulder to get away, and he's motoring towards the halfway line, feeds it through to Beto, gets the better of Zabani, tries to get the ball under control, drops for Doucouré inside the area, but it's won back by Tyler Adams. Howls for a penalty kick at the Gladys Street, but John Brooks waved his arms to the side and said, nothing doing, play on. Everton have it back. Idrissa Gueye now, just over the halfway line. Finds Lindstrom, approaching the right-hand corner of the area. He's got Kirkes backpedaling. Tried to roll it across to Garner, but it was intercepted by Christie, who tried to send the ball over the top to get Jebison away. But Everton have it back once more. Now the crowd's waking up. Doucouré out to this left-hand side, and Ashley Young tucks it in field for Garner. Bromley lead at MK Dons in League 2, Ben Thompson. Salford 2-0 up on Tranmere, another for Hakib Adelakun for the Amis, and Grimsby equalise against Carlisle in Mark Hughes' first game at Carlisle. Forward come Everton, and Idrissa Gueye forces Tyler Adams to sweep the ball out of play for a throw down by the corner flag in front of the Bullens Road stand. 2-0 Bournemouth on the hour.
Dance, well, Adams said to his Bournemouth teammates, everything I do for you. It's a fantastic sliding tackle on Beto. Really good play from Njai down the left-hand side. Beto just cut inside, looked like he's getting shot away. Tyler Adams just slides in and does that defensive midfield job for his team, and then does another crush tackle over on the far side on Garner. So he's just putting a shift in there alongside Christie.
After that pun, you should be saying, please forgive me. Throw into Everton on the far side.
I thought I died and gone to heaven. All right, that's enough now.
More than enough. Bolton 1, Crawley 3. Rushin Hepburn-Murphy gets Crawley's third of the afternoon. And here's James Garner for Everton. 2-0 down they are to Bournemouth. Doucouré hooks it over his head into the area. Njai can't run onto it. Drops inside the Bournemouth box, but there's no Everton shirt there, and Lewis Cook can bring the ball clear with the ball at his feet, scampering towards the halfway line. Slides into the feet of Tavernier. Out to Jebison on the right wing. Tavernier's gone again through the middle. Jebison just drops his shoulder well. Semenyo in bags of space on the left-hand side, but Jebison wants to go it alone into the area and tries to snake his way through everybody, but eventually the ball just got away from him and Pickford could claim. 2-0 to Bournemouth, 62 minutes gone, and Bournemouth are making a change before Everton are. Justin Kluivert is being readied down beneath us. Perry Groves.
Yeah, probably be the young lad. Winterburn will be coming off. He's putting a good shift in for his team, playing in an unusual position for him, playing in the 10 position. He's done a good job defensively.
Oh, lovely skill from Tyler Adams, not once but twice, but then he runs into Tarkovsky, who wins it back. Now Iliman Njai, first time pass out to the right wing, and James Garner with the cross, blocked behind by Hudson for a Bournemouth corner. Everton corner, forgive me. 62 minutes gone. Kluivert ready to come on, but Everton ready to smack this corner in.
Yeah, you can see Everton fan just getting behind their team. They just up the tempo a little bit because Tyler Adams was really late there on James Tarkovsky.
Short corner rolled into Njai. Garner plays it across the face. He got headed away by Christie. Nobody on halfway for Bournemouth, so Lindstrom's got time to go and collect. Sends it back into the centre circle for Idrissa Gueye. Now Young, left-hand side, plays a diagonal ball with his right foot into the box. Garner's up there, nods it down, might drop for Branthwaite. No, it's Sabani who gets a toe end on it and gets it clear. One back again by Lindstrom, fires it up to the edge of the area. Branthwaite lays it off to Doucouré. Doucouré, diagonal ball into the box. Oh, it's over the head of Lindstrom and just trickles behind, and this will signal the change. In fact, not only is it change for Bournemouth, and it is indeed, as Perry Grove suggested, the young 20-year-old Ben Winterburn from the academy is making way for Justin Kluivert, but also Charlie Alcaraz is going to make his Everton debut here, and Jack Harrison's going to come onto the field as well. But we'll have to wait to see who's coming off. Well, it's Abdoulaye Doucouré who's making way for Alcaraz. Doucouré has scored that 11-second goal here against Leicester last week. He's substituted, and so too is Jesper Lindstrom to allow Harrison to come off. So like-for-like switches in both instances there for Everton, and indeed the switch for Bournemouth, Perry.
Yeah, very much so, Dan. As we said, Everton needs some fresh impetus, they need some fresh legs, they need some fresh ideas to see if the two substitutes, Alcaraz and Harrison, can bring that positivity, because Everton just started to create a little bit of pressure, but again, getting into the final third, wrong decision, wrong delivery. So now can they find that little bit of quality?
He's on loan from Flamengo is Carlos Alcaraz. Remember him from his time at Southampton. Cliver gets involved straight away and finds Semenyo. Left-hand corner of the area. Gives it back to Cliver. Space to shoot. Pushed away by Pickford. Flying to his left. And Justin Cliver nearly had a very early involvement to give Bournemouth a third goal. 25 to go. They still lead 2-0.
It's a brilliant effort from Cliver of his right foot, but it's a ridiculous save from Jordan Pickford because he can actually catch that as it's coming to him. Basically, that's one for the cameras where he's double fisted it away and he sort of put his hands up just to apologise to his back voice, say, I should be having soft hands and catching it.
Throw in. Tavernier keeps the ball away from Alcaraz, works it back to halfway. Notts County 1, Morecambe 0 in League 2, and the leaders Walsall lead at Colchester. Charlie Lakin makes it Colchester 0, Walsall 1. Still to come on Talksport in the FA Cup. 2 live commentaries back to back. Birmingham City, Newcastle United at 5:45, and then straight to the Amex for Brighton against Chelsea after that. And then we're off to the boxing, where Derek Chisora fights Otto Wallin in the heavyweight division. Bournemouth coming forward again. It's with Justin Cliver and Tavernier trying to pull it back to the edge of the area. Headed goals by Christie. Headed off the line and pushed over the bar by Pickford after Branthwaite had headed it up in the air because Christie's header was goal bound. It ends up being a Bournemouth corner at the Park End. 2-0, the Cherries lead.
We said about adding impetus. Justin Cliver has had that brilliant play from Semenyo and Cliver on the left-hand side. Cliver on the underlap.
How confident does he look?
Just a little foot over. The old Michael Flatley goes over his right foot onto his left. It's a really good save, actually. Jordan Pickford with his left foot at the near post. Comes back out to Christie. Tries to head it back over Jordan Pickford. Branthwaite heads it up in the air. Hits the crossbar. Corner for Bournemouth on their right-hand side.
Tavernier to take it at the Park End, where it meets the main stand. Down to our right-hand side. Very, very busy 6-yard area. And he goes deep to the far post, headed away at the far post by O'Brien, but O'Christie will just let it run out of play for a throw. Norwich lead Derby in the Championship. Managerless Derby behind Josh Sargent, the American, with another goal for Norwich City, trying to get themselves involved in the playoff picture after what's been a fairly up and down season for the Canaries. Could be a down season for Derby. Changed their manager, or rather got rid of Paul Warne in the week. All sorts of rumours about who might come in there. O'Brien forced to toe poke the ball out of play for Everton, so Bournemouth have a throw in front of their supporters, who've had a very worthwhile journey so far, all the way up from the south coast. A quarter of the game to go, Perry Groves. Bournemouth are still 2-0 up here.
Well, we said about the substitutions. Obviously, Harrison and Alcaraz have come on for Everton, but the sub who's had the biggest impact has been Justin Cliver. He's had 2 shots within the space of 2 minutes.
Just showing how incredibly confident he must be feeling at the moment. Justin Cliver playing such super football. 12 goals, 11 in the Premier League this season, 6 goals in his last 5. Tells you all you need to know about how good he's feeling about life at the moment. Son of Patrick Cliver. Hat-trick, of course, involved in that stunning win at Newcastle United. Everton have the ball outside their own penalty area in the right back position. O'Brien is hurried into his clearance downfield, straight onto Zabani's right foot. Toe ends it downfield. It'll drop for Jared Branthwaite. Fires it along the deck downfield, but Zabani's there again to tidy up for Bournemouth. Branthwaite with a header towards the centre circle. Christie gets an important head to it. Oh, a little flick from Cliver, thinking that Jebison was on his bite through his middle. He wasn't. And so Pickford will smack it downfield, and that's over the head of Beto. And Heisen now volleys clear. It's all a bit... Well, the ball's going to need a paracetamol in a minute. Can anybody bring it down and use it? Beto brings it on his chest and works it out to the right-hand side and gets Jack Harrison involved for the first time. Checks onto his left, swirls across in decent effort, just couldn't find the target. And Jai was the closest player to that cross. That's more like it from Everton, but still they haven't worked Kepa in this second half.
It's a brilliant ball in from Harrison from that right-hand side, just getting to his left foot, just putting it into that corridor of uncertainty, and just... there was a difference there, Dan, because Njai was in the box, Beto was in the box, and Alcaraz obviously is going to play in that 10 position, the straight shot for Doucouré. He made sure that he got himself in the centre of the goal.
Everton 0, Bournemouth 2, just over 20 minutes to go on Talksport 2 in this FA Cup 4th round tie between 2 Premier League sides. Bournemouth look like they're going to beat Everton 3 times in one season. As things stand, Here's Alcaraz showing good skill to get away from Kerkez on halfway. Kerkez gets back goal side, but Alcaraz still has it up to the edge of the D. Tried to lay it off for Ndiaye, felt he was fouled, and the referee has brought play back and agrees with Alcaraz that he was fouled in the build-up. And Everton now have a free kick 25 yards out, just to the right of centre at the Gladys Street end.
Yeah, it was brilliant play from Alcaraz, just in the centre pitch on his left foot, just gets himself across Kerkez, just again rolls again. It's Christie who comes back and just taps his ankles. To be fair to John Brooks, referee tried to play an advantage. Alcaraz ended up going off balance and overrunning it, but John Brooks pulled the play back to give Everton a free kick, a dangerous free kick, basically banging the centre of the pitch.
Yeah, slightly to the right, I would say, and the Bournemouth wall is no more than 2 yards inside the 18-yard line, and Kepa just lining up his wall. There's 4 players from Everton standing around the ball: Young, Alcaraz, Harrison and Idrissa Gueye.
27.5 yards out.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Mathematician.
Do you see the different shades on the pitch, all 6 yards?
I see. Okay, good maths. Well, Alcaraz has very deliberately placed the ball down. I think he fancies getting involved here right from the off. The loan signing from Flamengo. There's a draft excluder behind the Bournemouth wall. Can't see who the luckless man is that's having to do that job.
Which is having a rest.
It is Alcaraz, right-footed, smacks against the post and stays out. And Kepa just stood and watched it fly past him, smack the upright and stay out. Wonderful effort, but it comes to nothing, and Bournemouth are now going to try and respond as they come forward. Clivert caught on halfway, free kick to Bournemouth, but Alcaraz within the width of a post of giving Everton something to think about in this game. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2.
Well, that's a little bit of inspiration that Everton are looking for. Alcaraz actually got the free kick, and it's a brilliant free kick, just bends it round the wall. Instep of his right foot, Sadair Kepa is absolutely planted to the floor, doesn't even move his feet, has a look to his left hand side and just has a massive sigh of relief as the ball comes on the outside of the post.
Stoke 3, Cardiff 3. What a cup tie at the Bet365. Ruben Colwill equalises for Cardiff. They were 2-0 up and 3-2 down. Rotherham 0, Shrewsbury 1 in League One. The side second bottom with 2 wins in 4, lead at the New York through Taylor Perry. And Colchester have equalised against Walsall. Teddy Bishop, once of Ipswich.
Never in doubt. Don't doubt the Cowley brothers.
Yeah, they're on a decent run, Colchester. 4 unbeaten. The Saddlers know, winning 3 in the league, even though they're top. And now Bournemouth trying to release Kerkez, but Hyson knows he's overhit that pass. The ball's gone downfield. And now Colchester lead against Walsall. Awarda Edwards makes it Colchester 2, Walsall 1. Walsall having a proper wobble at the top of League 2. And Sheffield United are back in front against Portsmouth. Jezran Raksaki makes it Sheffield United 2, Portsmouth 1. Here at Goodison Park, 18 minutes of normal time to play. It is still, as it was at half-time, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. And another change coming up for Everton. Tim Iropenham, once of Aston Villa, is going to be on sooner rather than later for David Moyes as a further shuffle of the pack. Here's Dean Hyson, meantime, down the left-hand side. Tucked up to the halfway line for Bournemouth, but it won't find Kerkez. Tarkowski driving forward into the centre of the Bournemouth half. Lays it off to Garner. Garner just rides the challenge of Tavernier. Ashley Young, right-footed ball into the box, headed behind by a reflection by Ryan Christie. Another corner to Everton at the Gladys Street end.
Yeah, really good play from James Tarkowski, just carrying the ball forward, just bring it out to Ashley Young on this left-hand side, gets it onto his right foot, tries to just cross it into the box.
Well, the change is being made here, Perry, before the corner can be taken. It's James Garner that's making way for Tim Iropenham, who returned from injury last time out to play Leicester. He's been out since early October, moved from Aston Villa in June. So he is Everton's third change. Here comes the corner. Ashley Young to take it at the Gladys Street end. Flick to the far post and headed off the line by Antoine Semenyo. I think it was Ndiaye got the header in. Cross from the right from Harrison. His block gets it again. Still a packed penalty area. If he can find a teammate. Harrison checks onto his right, headed away by Semenyo again. Alcaraz at the edge of the area, tried to take it down for a shot, clipped to the far post and headed, somehow stays out. How on earth Did Jake O'Brien not put that away? Whether it hit the post or the goalkeeper or both, I'm not sure. But Everton still haven't scored. Bournemouth 2-0 up.
Dance, Everton should be back in this game because at first it a flick on from Mjai from the corner, then Semenyo being disciplined on the far post for Bournemouth, just heads him off the line, and secondly then Harrison puts the ball in, brilliant cross with his left foot from the right hand side. Jake O'Brien, Dance, I'm not exaggerating, he's 2 yards out and he should be just heading into an empty net.
Ashley Young with a first time cross from the left for Everton. Bournemouth deal with it, but then they lose possession. Out on this near side, the Everton left, it's Njai, who completely wrongs foot Christie, finds a Rogbinham in the area, angles tight, plenty of Bournemouth shirts in front of him, so he works it back outside the box to Gay. Now O'Brien, out to the right hand side, and Harrison swirls another cross in, off the post, and Kepa can just claim it as it comes back. Nobody went for the cross at all that swirled in from Jack Harrison, and Kepa just stood and watched as it smacked against the left-hand upright and straight back into his arms. How's your luck, Everton? 15 to go. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2.
That's the third time Everton hit the post in this last 5 minutes. This time it's Jack Harrison again on the right-hand side. That's the fourth brilliant ball he's put in, just getting the ball onto his left foot, just whipping it in. Again, Kepa completely flat-footed. He looks round to his right. He thinks it's going in, comes off the inside of the post, goes back into his hands.
Everton 0, Bournemouth 2 on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Southampton 0, Burnley 1. Marcus Edwards, his first goal since his loan from Sporting, has put Burnley ahead at the Premier League's basement club.
That's it for Burnley. I think they've had 10 clean sheets in the last 11 matches.
Yeah, I was there on Tuesday when they won again, keeping a clean sheet. Everton give the ball away on halfway, but Jefferson can't get past Idrissa Gueye. Ball sent downfield. Bournemouth have got another change ready down beneath us. David Brooks is going to be on at the next break in play. So Southampton 0, Burnley 1. Elsewhere in the Cup, Coventry 1, Ipswich 4 now. Jayden Philogene increases the lead for Premier League Ipswich. And Notts County 2, Morecambe 0 in League 2 this afternoon. Alassane Jatta gets Notts County's second of the afternoon. And Dango Ouattara is also being brought on. And he's going to come on for, is it Tyler Adams that's coming off? Well, certainly Marcus Tavernier is coming off. It's actually, forgive me, Jebison that's coming off to allow Ouattara to come on, and Brooks for Tavernier. So again, straight swaps, no real positional switches for those two changes. So the front line that is effectively at the moment Andoni Iraola's first choice front line of Brooks, Ouattara, Semenyo and Kluivert are all out there now to try and see this game out for the Cherries, who lead 2-0. Rotherham equalise against Shrewsbury in League 1. Hakim Odofin. Here come Everton with Idrissa Gueye, sliding the ball down the right-hand side. Harrison giving chase. He's caught at the edge of the area. It's not a penalty. Kirkes protests his innocence, says it should be a corner, but it's been given as a free kick. He gets a yellow card, does Milos Kirkes, but it's a free kick right down the right-hand side of the penalty area for Everton. Perry Groves.
Yeah, well, Harrison's made a massive difference on that right-hand side. He says to Kirkes, I've upped my mindset on you. And just as the ball's rolled in from Gueye, he just gets that little toe poke away from him. And Kirkes is lucky, Dance, because it's just about half a yard outside the 18-yard box. John Brooks was right on the spot. Quite rightly gives a free kick. Comes to Harrison. He's going to whip it in with his left foot. His deliveries, Dance, since he's been on, has been absolutely fantastic. Every ball he's put into the box has been spot on.
It's midway between the corner of the box and the dead ball line, right down the right-hand side of the area. Harrison rolls it to the edge of the area, driven goals by Young, but blocked by Christie, and then just volleyed downfield. Anywhere will do for Bournemouth, and Pickford, who is in the centre of his own half, comes back to the 18-yard line to retrieve the loose ball and finds Alcaraz. Gets over the halfway line, floats it out, good ball. Harrison's the outlet, they're using him as often as they can. Running at Kirkes once again into the area, gets the ball onto his left and tries to sweep it goalwards again. This time Kirkes gets a block in, but Harrison still has it on that far side. Up against Adams this time. Goes on the outside and then the inside, checks onto his left, looks to the edge of the area. Robenham with the drive over the bar. Really hit it firmly. Tim Robenham just couldn't keep it down. Bournemouth are keeping Everton at bay. With 10 minutes to go, 38,909 here. Are they all witnessing the last ever FA Cup tie at Goodison Park? It's 2-0 to Bournemouth.
Well, to be fair, Dan, to the two subs, Alcaraz, Harrison and Robenham just linked up there. They've made a big difference because they've given Everton a bit of impetus. Harrison, again, cutting on his left foot, just puts it back to Alcaraz. Great little layoff. Robenham should be getting his knee over the top of the ball, ends up skying it over the crossbar.
Njai gamely giving chase down the Everton left, but Lewis Cook has put himself between man and ball and lets the ball trickle over the touchline for a throw. York 3, Woking 0 in the National League. York 6 points off the leaders Barnet at the start of the day, and Josh Stones has got York's third. Rotherham 1, Shrewsbury 2. John Marquis, the big man up front for the Shrews, has put them back in front at the New York Stadium. No sooner had they gone 1-1 when Hakim Odafin equalised for Rotherham. Livingston 2, Cove Rangers 0 in the Scottish Cup. But here in the Emirates FA Cup, we've got less than 10 minutes to go. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2. Everton have hit the post 3 times in this second half, trying to reduce the arrears. But Bournemouth are hanging on as things stand. Ball's back with their keeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Dean Hyson will strike it downfield left-footed. Semenyo brings it out the sky, but that allowed Jake O'Brien to get his foot in and get it clear. And then Alcaraz just past the halfway line, out-muscled by Hyson, who's now bringing the ball along the deck, clips it down the left-hand side. That's hit too firmly for Antoine Semenyo. Everton goal kick, 2-0 Bournemouth. Perry Groves.
Yeah, just Hyson just trying to release Semenyo over the outside of his right foot, so they just overhit it. So Jordan Pickford is going to be in a hurry to get this goal kick. He's just going to launch it straight up the middle of the pitch.
Down it goes to halfway, headed in field by O'Brien, but it drops for Clivert, who lobs it down the left-hand side of the area. Ouattara sees Pickford make a save right on the 18-yard line. Comes back out to the left-hand side of Ouattara, tries to fire into the box, and Tarkowski heads behind for a corner. Well, he took a gamble there, Jordan Pickford, and did make the save inside the penalty area. As suddenly Clivert found Ouattara. Whether he was on or offside, hard to tell. But we're in a VAR-free zone this afternoon, even though this is 2 Premier League sides.
It's a massive rush of blood there from Jordan Pickford. Doesn't even get himself involved. Brilliant little ball from Clivert, just helping it over the top. Ouattara looks around, all of a sudden he sees Jordan Pickford just right on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Corner comes in, it's cleared away by Everton as far as Christie. Christie, oh, lovely ball down the left-hand side of the box. David Brooks pulls it back. Semenyo, great save. Ouattara on the follow-up, block behind by Robenham. Sensational challenge from Tim Robenham as Bournemouth cut Everton apart. Corner kick.
Fantastic play from Bournemouth on their left-hand side. Releasing David Brooks. David Brooks, can he pick the right pass? Exactly, he can. He just pulls it back to Semenyo. It's a fantastic full-length save initially from Jordan Pickford going to his left-hand side. Then Robenham just trying himself in front of the ball to get the second block on.
Well, here's an interesting change. Michael Keane is coming on for Idrissa Gueye, so a centre-half for a central midfielder, but I think that's all about getting some extra height in there for these last 7 minutes or so. Corner from Brooks for Bournemouth. Headed up in the air. Where's that going to drop? 6-yard line. Drops for Clivert, who couldn't get his right knee over the ball, and it's flown over the crossbar. Goal kick. And Everton need to get on with it. 2-0 Bournemouth lead. 6.5 minutes to go. Newport 3-0 up at Crewe. In League 2, Courtney Baker-Richardson. Barrow 2-0 up on Gillingham. Another for Kean Spence this afternoon for the Cumbrians. And Michael Keane playing as an auxiliary striker. That cheer you heard was because he won a header.
Well, again, we said that Semenyo's penalty was back to the 80s dance when he put his foot through it. Now we've got a bit tactics back to the 80s because Michael Keane will just go up front with Beto. You know full well all Everton to do now is going to load the ball into the box and see if they can get the knockdowns.
Bolton 3, Crawley 3. Josh Sheehan for Bolton. They're level again. Harrison for Everton. 2-0 down here. on the right-hand side for the Toffees. Finds Iliman Ndiaye, right-hand corner of the area. Infield it goes to Robenham. Makes space for a shot maybe. Into the area. Oh, drives it wide. Really caught it sweetly. Keppel was at full stretch, but it went the wrong side of the near post for Everton, and Bournemouth have a goal kick, and it stays 2-0 to the visitors.
Well, Robenham has had more an effect on the game in the short time he's been on, Dan, since Decore had in the whole game, because his brilliant feet on the edge of the 18-yard box gives Christie a little see you later, drops his right shoulder onto his left foot, just goes past him, then just gets the ball out of his feet, and he's just a little bit off balance as he gets his strike away.
Wasn't far off from Timmy Robenham. So 5 minutes of normal time to go. Remember, it was 2-0 to Everton here at this point in August in the Premier League game that Perry and I were here for on Talksport 2. In fact, 2 minutes later it was still 2-0. Here comes Michael Keane, working the ball in field to Irobenham. Space to his right for Alcaraz. Just lays it back to Tarkowski on halfway. Now O'Brien takes over, slides it down the right-hand side of the box. Beto's got Hyson at his back, trying to play it back to the edge of the area. Bournemouth get players back and hook it clear. Trying to keep that head of steam, trying to keep that pressure on the Everton players as the stewards come out to ring the perimeter of the pitch late on here. O'Brien with a cross for Everton, headed out by the stooping Hyson. Gets it up to halfway, but Ouattara can't bring the ball under control. Harrison gets onto the loose ball for Everton, and Alcaraz by the centre circle has possession now. Options right and left, now bringing it forward. Slides it down the right-hand side of the box for Ndiaye. Ndiaye's cross volleyed away by Hyson. Might go out for a throw on that far side. That's what Harrison's trying to make sure it does. And in fact, it came off Harrison last, and it ended up being a Bournemouth throw just to wind up the locals that little bit more. Still, Bournemouth are 2-0 up here. Don't forget Birmingham City against Newcastle live on Talksport in an hour's time. And then you have Brighton against Chelsea on Talksport straight after that, before the boxing between Derek Chisora and Otto Wallen is live. Here is Jack Harrison, wriggling down the Everton right, trying to get across into the area. He's into the box, but he's fouled his man in winning the ball back. And a yellow card for Iliman Ndiaye for too much back chat to John Brooks. Oh, he's very close to getting himself 2 yellow cards there, because he carried on protesting loud and long after he received the first yellow there, Ndiaye. But what it means in the end, Perry, is it's a free kick to Bournemouth with 3 minutes to go.
Right, you shouldn't be running up to the referee and like shouting and screaming and waving your arms at him, but it was a ridiculous decision from John Brooks, because Kirkes just fell over. Harrison did brilliantly, just nutmegged him. Kirkes then gets the ball, then he falls over, tries to go across Harrison. 100% that's not a foul, but you can't be running up to the referee in that demonstrative way.
Alcaraz heads it clear to Michael Keane, this new striker that Everton have suddenly found from nowhere, and he's run out of room on that far side, trying to get past Hyson. And those two centre-halves, you may have made a little bit of fun out of the fact they're both wearing gloves today, Zabarnyi and Hyson, but they look quite a partnership.
Yeah, they've got a good understanding. Say when the ball's coming into Beto, if Zabarnyi went in, then Hyson would just sweep up behind him and vice versa. And a difference as well is they've been better on the ball than Everton's 2 centre-halves in the first, especially Tarkowski. So he was at fault for both of Bournemouth goals.
Everton have the ball inside their own penalty area. They want it down the other end. 2 minutes of normal time to go, plus whatever the referee wants to add on for stoppages. Bournemouth was certainly back in the league game by this point, with the clock ticking around past 88 minutes. It was an incredible climax. Can we possibly see anything similar here this afternoon? Everton with the throw. Lobbed back by Ashley Young to Branthwaite, just inside the Bournemouth half. Slides it into the feet of Ndiaye, who wriggles his way in field away from Lewis Cook. Finds Irobenham in the centre of the Bournemouth half. Square ball to the right to pick out O'Brien. O'Brien's crossed into the box, and Keane heads it over the top. Well, the tall man was up there to get his head to balls, and he got his head to that cross, but couldn't keep it down. Bournemouth goal kick.
Well, Michael Keane ended up somewhere only he knows, just 10 yards out. Brilliant ball in from O'Brien from that right-hand side. Unfortunately, Michael Keane, he just mistimed his run, got himself underneath the ball, ends up heading over Kepa's crossbar.
We should have the recycle bin noise, because you've used that one before.
Not in this game, haven't they? Are those the rules?
St Johnstone 1, Hamilton 0 in the Scottish Cup. Late goal from Adama Sidibé. looks to have put the Premiership side through in the Scottish Cup this afternoon. Now Keane goes down, little push from Zabarnyi, spotted by John Brooks. 30 seconds of normal time remaining. And Ashley Young wants to spot the free kick down, but David Brooks just making it difficult for him to create the space. It's got to go into the box from Ashley Young. It's about 15 yards inside Bournemouth territory. Just down on this near touchline. Goes diagonally to the right-hand corner of the box. Drops for Harrison. Tries to lob the ball across the face of goal, but couldn't wrap his foot round it enough, and it just goes behind for a goal kick to Bournemouth.
You could hear the sigh,
the clank of seats,
of disappointment, and then the clank of seats, because that was looked like the last chance.
Well, let's see how many added minutes we've just moved into now, because the fourth official, Anthony Backhouse, is still struggling with the control at 4. That's what we're into now. We're about 12 seconds into it. Fleetwood 2, Cheltenham 0. Mark Helm with a late goal to seal the points for Fleetwood in League 2. Bournemouth have played Everton twice before in the FA Cup and lost both times. And they are just a few minutes away from getting to the 5th round, and they don't do that very often, Bournemouth.
Must be the 3rd time they've beaten Everton this season if it stays like this.
So a free kick for Everton just over the halfway line. Right hand side, Young sends it into the edge of the box, drifts out to the left hand side, and Jai volleys it across the face of goal. Nodded down, will it run for Jake O'Brien? It was ricocheted against him by Hyson and went behind for a goal kick to Bournemouth, and they survive another scare at the back, the Cherries.
Yeah, it's really good defended from Hyson on the far post. Say Jake O'Brien as the ball dropped out the floor. First tried to get his volley away. Hyson made sure that he went and engaged him, and then as he tried to clear it, Jake O'Brien blocks it, goes up for a goal kick for Bournemouth. They're not going to be in any hurry to take it.
Well, they've got a substitution to make here, because Zane Silcott-Dewberry, 19 years of age, who joined from the Chelsea Academy in January. He's a right wing back, and he has come on for these last few seconds for Bournemouth down the right hand side. Made his debut late on against Nottingham Forest, did Scott Dilbury. Silcott Dilbury, rather, should I say, get his name right. Ball's up on halfway. Here is Silcott Dewberry with his first touch. Gets it infield to Brooks. Brooks up to the edge of the area, and Ouattara, but Branthwaite stuck his foot out in front of him. Irogbenham, he's being pulled back by David Brooks. That's got to be a yellow card. He had a huge chunk of his shirt there, did David Brooks, on Irogbenham. Free kick to Everton. Blackpool equalised late on at Burton 1-1. Albie Morgan for the Seasiders. Barrow sealed the points against Gillingham 3-0. And here's the free kick from Pickford, but straight onto the head of Antoine Semenyo. Alcaraz loses out, and Clivert brings the ball away. Suddenly Bournemouth have got 3-on-2. Clivert looks to chip Pickford and gets it all wrong and over the top, and Ouattara holds his arms out to his side to Clivert's right and says, where was my slide rule pass to make it 3-0, please?
You know what, that's Clivert thinking, we're 2-0 up, we've only got 4 minutes to go, I'm going to go for glory, where he's got David Brooks and Ouattara inside him. He should just roll it to him. They end up putting it in an empty net. That's very, very selfish from Clivert.
Although at first he did really well just to dump Charlie Alcaraz on the seat of his pants and sprint clear. Here is Alcaraz floating it out to the right hand side. We're in the last minute of minimum added time, and Alcaraz's crossfield pass can't be kept in play by Jack Harrison, just skims off the top of his head, and you can just hear that hubbub of people deciding they've seen enough and are heading for the roads around Goodison Park outside to make their way home. They've seen enough.
Very poignant moment, Dan, as well. The last FA Cup tie ever at Goodison Park.
Ball fired up into the Merseyside sky by Hyson, and Branthwaite heads it up in the air, has to run back towards his own penalty area. Clivert's making a nuisance of himself, but Branthwaite gets something on it and manages to find Ashley Young striding forward down this near side, tries to play it further forward for the runner Beto. Beto, a game run to the byline, tries to wrap his foot round the cross, but it ends up landing on the roof of the net. Goal kick to Bournemouth, and that should be that.
Yeah, it was good play from Ashley Young on the left. Branford did really well initially.
And there goes the full-time whistle. to signal the end of FA Cup football at Goodison Park, because Bournemouth have come here and have won by 2-0. Only the 5th time that Bournemouth have made round 5 of the Emirates FA Cup, and they did it courtesy of 2 first-half goals, a penalty from Antoine Semenyo midway through the first half after he'd been fouled by James Tarkowski, and then Daniel Jebison forced the ball in right on half-time after his initial effort was saved close in by Jordan Pickford. Everton came out snarling into the second half, hit the woodwork 3 times in their efforts to try and get back into the game, but it proved to be a luckless afternoon in front of goal for David Moyes' men. They will go back to their attempts to pull further clear of trouble at the bottom, but for Andoni Iraola and Bournemouth, they have beaten Everton 3 times in the same season.
This shows you how far Bournemouth have come as a football club, Dance, because it's not really a surprise. We was here earlier on in the season where Bournemouth were 2-0 down, in 87 minutes and turned the game around. Here, their game management was excellent. The first half, they were the better side. Even though Everton had a bit more possession, Bournemouth were far more productive when they had that possession. And that first little bit of quality came when the ball was just switched from the right-hand side over to Kirkes, just opened his body out. As the ball dropped over his shoulder, with his left foot cushioned it past Semenyo. Tarkowski comes in, brings him down. Semenyo gets the penalty, quite rightly given by John Brooks, puts the ball in a penalty spot and smashes it past Jordan Pickford to give him absolutely no chance. And then Tarkowski's nightmare continues, because he has a ball that he tries to play across the pitch from the right-hand side, goes to Tavernier, he gets his shot, it's blocked, comes back to Jebison. Jordan Pickford comes in as the block, big starfish shape, and Jebison managed to bundle it past him, goes in off the post to put Bournemouth 2-0 up. They go in 2-0 at half-time. To be fair, in the second half, we can hear some boos from some
That's boos for the referee, John Brooks, who's just making his way up. He didn't do much wrong.
He hasn't made a mistake.
No.
He made one mistake. He shouldn't have booked Ilman and Jai, because it wasn't a foul on Harrison. But other than that, he's had a good game.
Meantime, Bournemouth have gone over to take the acclaim of the travelling supporters in the Bullens Road End, and yet again it's a joyous trip to the blue half of Merseyside for Bournemouth. And despite the fact that Everton struck the woodwork 3 times in that second half, there was so much to admire in that Bournemouth performance in terms of the way they went about their business. Jebison coming in as a pinch hitter, because you've got Ouattara would normally play, Cliver would normally play. You talked about his discipline, Perry, brilliant in the first half.
Tactically in the first half, and Daliura got it spot on, because Everton want to play out from the back. Obviously, Braunfate switched to the left, and then Tarkowski comes to the right. So Jebison actually made sure he looked over his shoulder all the time to see where Braunfate was. He stood in between Braunfate and Tarkowski. Bournemouth let Tarkowski have the ball because they know that he's not the best on it. And it come to fruition, obviously, when he gave the ball away for the second goal. The second half, Everton delivered more posts than the Royal Mail, to be fair, because they did go. The 3 subs actually made a difference. Harrison, Alcaraz and Irovenham, when they come on, they did make a difference. They gave a bit of impetus. Harrison was very good on that right-hand side with his crosses coming with his left foot. He actually hit the post with one of his in-swinging crosses. Free kick from Alcaraz hit the post as well, where Keppel was just rooted to the floor. The big miss, Dance, was O'Brien's. That was the big one, where he's at the yard at the far post. He should be heading it into empty net, hits the post. If Everton get that goal, then maybe, the game then starts to change. Semenyo, who I thought was brilliant all game, just released the pressure from Bournemouth when he was on the ball, just very, very composed. And he headed the ball off the line from a Clivert header from an in-swinging corner. So you have to say that first half, Bournemouth were very good with the ball. Second half, they made sure they defended as a team, and the 2 centre halves of Barnier and Huijsen were excellent.
Perry, thanks as always for being with us this afternoon. So the FA Cup scores at the moment, they're still playing at Coventry. Coventry 1, Ipswich 4. Preston 0, Wickham 0 looks to be heading for extra time at Deepdale. Burnley have knocked out Southampton. That Marcus Edwards strike. Southampton 0, Burnley 1 full time at St Mary's. Heading for extra time with a bet 365 after a thriller. 3-3 between Stoke and Cardiff. Fulham have beaten Wigan, leading twice. They won 2-1 in the end. A couple from Rodrigo Muniz. Birmingham, Newcastle to come at 5:45, and Brighton, Chelsea. It's a mammoth weekend of sport on the Talksport network. So these two more FA Cup commentaries tonight. Birmingham City Newcastle kicks off at 5:45, followed by Brighton against Chelsea at 8, both on Talksport. Tomorrow night, Talksport brings you the best coverage of Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles from New Orleans. Our coverage begins at 10:30. And also tomorrow, 3 more FA Cup commentaries for you. Blackburn Wolves, Plymouth Liverpool, an exclusive, and Aston Villa against Spurs. And if that's not enough for you, later this evening, live boxing, Derek Chisora taking on Otto Wallen in Manchester, with the undercard here on Talksport 2 from 9 o'clock, moving to Talksport at 10 following the conclusion of Brighton against Chelsea. Coming up next on Talksport 2, it's the road to the Super Bowl. But for now, though, it finished at Goodison Park, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2, as the Cherries make it through to round 5, and we see the end of FA Cup football at this famous old stadium.